bebaskan Masjidil Aqsa, merdekakan Palestina. Palestina, 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 Palestina. Kiblat pertama umat Islam di Palestina. Bumi para syuhada kekal di Palestina. Takkan pernah terlupa selamanya Palestina. Ingin ku serahkan jiwa ragaku. Bebaskan Masjidil Aqsa, merdekakan Palestina. Bebaskan Masjidil Aqsa, merdekakan Palestina. Dengan hartamu, dengan ragamu, dengan tanganmu, dengan nyawamu. Bebaskan Masjidil Aqsa, merdekakan Palestina. Takkan pernah terlupa selamanya Palestina. Ingin ku serahkan jiwa ragaku. Bebaskan Masjidil Aqsa, merdekakan Palestina. Bebaskan Masjidil Aqsa, merdekakan Palestina. Dengan hartamu, dengan ragamu, dengan tanganmu, dengan nyawamu. Bebaskan Masjidil Aqsa, merdekakan Palestina. Bebaskan Masjidil Aqsa, merdekakan Palestina. Bebaskan Masjidil Aqsa, merdekakan Palestina.
Kamaya, you still mute. Please unmute your speaker, please. Thank you.
Welcome. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The Honorable President of FLAG, Mr. Surya Egistian, the Honorable President of OIC Youth Indonesia, Mr. Safi Effendi, Excellencies, Mr. Toha Ahyan as President of Islamic Cooperation Youth Forum, Mr. Mayor General Dr. Hidayat Nur Wahid as Vice Chairman of People Consultative Assembly, and Mr. Esa Sukma Wijaya, Representative Deputy Minister on Organization and Planning. And Honorable Speaker of this meeting, Speaker 1, Ambassador Zuhair Son, Ambassador of Palestine to Indonesia, Mr. Jufito Juha, President of Majelis Belia Malaysia, Mr. Tantan Taufik Lubis, Vice President ICYF, and Mr. Syahroni Rofi, PhD. Excellencies, distinguished guests, participants of the meeting, we would like to welcome you to Youth Solidarity for Palestine, the 42nd commemoration of International Day of Solidarity of Palestinian People. It is a great honor for us to welcome all of you tonight. On behalf of OIC Youth Indonesia and UKM Bahasa Flat, would like to express our gratitude for Embassy State of Palestine. To all of the participants who have joined to this event, my name is Rismaya and I will be lead this great event until the end. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, tonight we will be starting our meeting, and without further ado, I would like to invite Mr. Surya Egi as President of FLAG to deliver his remarks. Mr. Mr. Surya Egi, the floor is yours. Mr. Egi.
Okay, cek. Cek. Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Honorable Minister of Youth and Sport Indonesia, Zainuddin Amali, Honorable Vice Chairman of People's Great Assembly of Indonesia, Hidayat Nur Wahid, Honorable President of OIC Youth Indonesia, Syafi Effendi, and Honorable all speakers in this event. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wa bihi nasta'in ala umurid dunya waddin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in, amma ba'd. Ana Surya Egistian Karaisil Am fi Munazzamah Lughah Al-Ajnabiyah bi Jami'atil Islamiyah Al-Hukumiyah Syarif Hidayatullah Jakarta. Ashkuru syukran katsiran li jami'i syarik al-i'lami alladhi qad sa'idu hadzal barnamij hatta yasir hadzal barnamij sayran kama yura. Wa khususan ala kafil as-sifarah al-Palestiniyah alladhi qad sa'idu aidan hadzal barnamij fi hadhil lailah al-mubarakah. Wa aidan la ansa ala kulli lajnah ashkuru syukran katsiran alladhi qad aqamu hadzal barnamij hatta yasir hadzal barnamij sayran kama yura. Wa ana kal muwakkilil lajnah fi hadzal barnamij aqulu astaghfikum haqqal istighfar ala kullil khatayat wan nuqsan fi hadzal barnamij وعسى أن يسير هذا البرنامج سيرا كما يرى وأعطيكم الخبر على أن هذا البرنامج وفي المسابقة قد وجد المسابق 20 سابقا طيب ربما كفيت هذا كلامي هنا أقول قولي هذا akhiran astaghfirukum hakal istighfar. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Mr. Surya Agistian. The next agenda, I would like to invite Mr. Shafi Effendi as President of OIC Youth Indonesia to deliver his opening remarks. Mr. Shafi Effendi, the floor is yours.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah wa syukurillah wa la haula wa la quwwata illa billah. Special very thanks to Mr. Hidayat Nur Wahid, Vice Chairman of People's Consultative Assembly of Indonesia, and then my brother, my senior in OIC, Mr. Taha Aihan, the President of Islamic Cooperation Youth Forum, ICYF, and the Ambassador of Palestine in Indonesia, Mr. Zuhair Alsun, and my senior, Mr. Tantan Taufik Lubis, Vice President OICYF, and Sharoni Rafi PhD in academician and lecturer at Graduate School of Strategic Studies, University of Indonesia, and Julfitri Joha, from President of Majelis Belia Malaysia. Thank you for the time. Dalam kesempatan kali ini saya menyampaikan apresiasi kepada OIC Indonesia yang telah bersusah payah dan bekerja keras untuk menyelenggarakan acara hari ini, dan mudah-mudahan Allah Subhanahu wa taala merahmati kita semua. Dalam kesempatan ini saya menyampaikan beberapa pesan, bahwasannya kami OIC Indonesia mendukung penuh bagaimana Indonesia sampai hari ini masih menjadi garda terdepan untuk kemerdekaan Palestina. Dan melalui forum ini kami sebagai OIC Indonesia terus menarasikan kemerdekaan Palestina, walaupun secara politik, secara hubungan internasional Palestina sedang dihadang kanan, kiri, dan atas bawah. Bagi kami perjuangan ini bukan perjuangan pendek, ini adalah perjuangan panjang. Sebagai pemuda, tugas kami adalah menarasikan pikiran-pikiran tentang kemerdekaan Palestina. Dan dalam kesempatan kali ini kami menyampaikan kami tidak akan pernah berhenti untuk menyampaikan kebenaran bahwasannya ada negara besar bernama Palestina, dan kami tidak mengakui negara Israel sebagai negara yang sekarang katanya ada. Sebagai pemuda Muslim Indonesia, kami menarasikan ini sampai ke grassroots. Kami berkeliling Indonesia menyampaikan kepada seluruh rakyat Indonesia sebagai negara Islam terbesar di dunia untuk terus menarasikan pendidikan tentang keislaman, pendidikan tentang peradaban Islam. Untuk itu, dalam kesempatan kali ini, saya mengucapkan terima kasih kepada Menteri Pemuda Olahraga Palestina, Mr. Jibril Rajo, dan seluruh pemimpin-pemimpin di Timur Tengah khususnya. Kemudian, untuk seluruh panitia, saya ucapkan terima kasih. Saya tadi melihat bagaimana teman-teman dan kita semua punya semangat yang sama untuk sama-sama menarasikan tentang Palestina di negeri kita. Kepada seluruh senior, kepada para orang-orang tua kami sangat bangga telah dididik sebagai kader-kader muda yang mempertahankan pikiran-pikiran, peradaban-peradaban yang telah para pahlawan-pahlawan Islam tanamkan sejak dulu. Bagi kami, Palestina ada di hati kami. Bagi kami, persatuan dan pemuda adalah benteng terdepan. Bagaimana kita bisa mengakomodir kekuatan umat muslimin di seluruh dunia. Terima kasih untuk kesempatannya kepada para peserta kompetisi debat yang berhadir. Selamat datang di OIC di Indonesia. Kami organisasi Islam di Indonesia terus bekerja sama kepada seluruh stakeholder untuk menyampaikan narasi-narasi tentang persatuan dan tentang kepemudaan. Saya rasa demikian. Terima kasih. Billahi bismillahil haq. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Safi Effendi, for delivering the remarks. Now, I would like to invite the Mr. Taha Ahyan as President of ICYF. Mr. Taha, the floor is
Assalamu
yours.
alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Mr. Saifi Effendi, my brother, the President of OIC Youth Indonesia, His Excellency Dr. Zeynep'in Amali, His Excellency Dr. Hidayat Nur Wahid, and dear Surya Egistian, His Excellency Mayor General Jibril Lajoub, the Minister of Youth and Sports of State of Palestine, and Eternal Friend of ICYF, His Excellency Ambassador Zuhair Al-Shun, and the Ambassador of State of Palestine to the Republic of Indonesia, my brother, Mr. Jufir Johar, President of Majlis Belia of Malaysia, my brother, Mr. Santan Taufik Luis, the Vice President of the ICYF, and Dr. My sisters and brothers. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. First of all, I am most pleased and honored to be part of this valuable gathering who have come together for the 42nd commemoration of International Day of Solidarity with Palestinian people. I feel so proud of each and every youth who tries to find solutions and play a role in the betterment of and in the well-being of our states and societies, those who work in solidarity to shape the future with their knowledge, experience, and determination to change for the better. And I would like to express my sincerest congratulations for my sisters and brothers who put Palestinian and the people of Palestine at the first priority. This annual Solidarity Day is an opportunity to reflect on the critical situation faced by the Palestinian people and to consider our collective contributions and responsibilities as governments, NGOs, or international youth institutions, or young people as individuals towards Palestinian independence and towards eradicating the occupation state. It's gratifying that there are Palestinian and international youth, cultural and solidarity organizations who have joined forces to reshape and revitalize the Palestinian struggle for freedom from occupation. They work for fulfilling the Palestinian national aspirations of self-determination and statehood as well. And their sole aim as the independence of Palestinians from all kinds of occupation and all kinds of attacks. We see organizations that have come together to renew Palestinian struggle, call upon Palestinians across the world to act in a unified manner to strengthen resistance against the unlawful occupation of Israel and the apartheid regime. The organizations have also pledged to keep alive the rich history and memory of the Palestinian struggle over years. This struggle is the uprising of a new generation of Palestinians united everywhere around principles of dignity, justice, and the liberation of all Palestine. And Alhamdulillah, we can see in all around the world, the nation of Palestine, the sons and daughters of Palestine are still resisting, and they're aware about their independence war. I have a chance to visit El Jalil and Sabra and Shatila camps in Lebanon just 10 days ago. And just 3 days ago, I have a chance to meet with the Palestinian Council in the United States. And I can assure you that Palestinian people are fighting against the occupation and against the terrorist regime in full throttle. And I had expressed my thanks to them in person, and I'm now expressing my deepest thanks and congratulations and solidarity messages in virtual reality now. The International Day of Solidarity traditionally provides an opportunity for the international community to focus its attention on the fact that the question of Palestine remains unresolved. The Palestinian people have yet to attain their inalienable rights as defined by the United Nations General Assembly, namely the right of self-determination without external interference, the right to national independence and sovereignty, and the right to return to their homes and property from which they have been displaced. In this regard, we are with the Palestinian people, who are now more than 8 million, live primarily in the Palestinian territory occupied by Israel since 1967, including East Jerusalem in Israel, in neighboring Arab states, and in refugee camps in the region. As youth institutions, our role today is to reconstruct good image on Ummah youth by promoting their positive role in all economic, social, cultural, and political processes. Our policies and projects have to address this aim and acknowledge young people's positive role in society, emphasizes on how their involvement in decision-making is decisive for development of sustainable solutions for diverse security, social, and economic challenges. And also we have to advocate their rights to be granted to them wherever they live, wherever they are part of their society. Because unfortunately, the Palestinian diaspora who are living, who have to live in camps, are lack of their civic rights. They cannot enjoy their civic rights in their respective society. ICYF is committed to providing an opportunity for you to ensure that they are not only the leaders of tomorrow, but also hoplites of today. Whether it's ensuring men and women have equal access to education, improving abilities to strengthen youth leadership in civil society, business, and academia, or providing a young entrepreneur with capital and network to grow a startup. The ICYF understands such projects and activities as investing in the potential of the young people within the needs of OIC member states towards their young people as underlined in the OIC youth strategy. Dear distinguished guests, dear ladies and gentlemen, while I reach the end of my speech, I want to highlight one point. Through our solidarity and united action, our commitments will be amplified as reflections of the political will of those tirelessly striving to improve the condition of youth throughout the Muslim world. It's my deepest wish for all Palestinian people, my sisters and my brothers, to get their freedom and live in peaceful conditions they deserve. But for reaching this target, we have to show concrete solidarity with our brothers and sisters. Even we have to put pressure on our state to show respect and the concrete solidarity with our brothers and sisters to reach their independence from this terrorist state and for eradicating, demolishing, and vanishing this occupation. While reiterating my profound thanks to you all, I pray to Allah the Almighty to grant us success in our mission and in the new programs and projects which will certainly serve youth of Ummah effectively. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala may keep you and your loved ones and your families, your nations safe, well, and healthy in such difficult times. And thank you very much for again inviting me and letting me to be part of such a beautiful occasion. I thank you all for your kind attention. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu ila liqa.
Waalaikumsalam. Okay, now I would like to invite Ms. Nadia to translate a previous speech by Safi Effendi. Mrs. Nadia.
Okay, thank you to Mrs. MC, to Mr. Ismaya. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. First of all, I would like to translate or interpret what Mr. Shafi'i Effendi, as the president of OIC Youth Indonesia, had earlier stated in his welcoming speech. He would like to thank all of the participants and all of the speakers and moderators invited today for being here, being present at today's opening speech. He hopes that all of the participants here are going to be able to not only be able to participate in the speech and also the debate competition that is going to be held in the next few days, but also use this as a momentum to create awareness and to help Palestine to keep on going on and to keep on going forward. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Nadia. Next, I would like to invite Dr. Hidayat Nur Wahid as Vice Chairman of People Consultative Assembly Indonesia.
This one?
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
After that, this one?
Sauti semua, suara saya terdengar?
Terdengar.
Oke, alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Assalatu wassalamu ala qaidina wa qudwatina sayyidina Muhammadin asyrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man tabi'ahum bi ihsanin ila yaumiddin. All my sisters and brothers in OIC Youth Organization, Brother Taha Aihan, the President of OIC Youth, and Brother Shafi Effendi, the President of OIC Youth of Indonesia Chapter, and all ladies and gentlemen, the big family of OIC Youth in Turkey, in Indonesia, and Malaysia, and all over the world. Your Excellency, Ambassador Johan Asun, and Your Excellency, the Minister of Youth and Sport of Palestine, Your Excellency Jibril Ayub, and all our participants in this very important meeting in this night. Actually, I would like to speak in maybe in Arabic or maybe in English, but I prefer to speak in Indonesian language. I know there a good translator to translate everything you want to talk about. And I understand that the majority of the participants are Indonesian also. Then I think it's better if I deliver my speech in Indonesian. Besides that, you know well that there is not there is such the regulation that all of Indonesian government and parliament, when they are in Indonesia, they have to speak in Indonesian language. If I'd like to deliver my speech in Indonesian language, and I believe that the translator will translate it very good and very well in maybe in Arabic or also in English. Jadi saya akan menyampaikan dalam bahasa Indonesia, selain karena memang saya kira mayoritas pesertanya juga dalam bahasa Indonesia ya, dan ada sedikit exitnya gitu ya, ada undang-undang tentang bahasa yang mengatur para pejabat kalau di Indonesia bicara dengan bahasa Indonesia. Baik, rekan-rekan sekalian yang saya hormati, tema kita pada malam hari ini tema yang selalu amat sangat dipentingkan, membicarakan tentang masalah perkembangan Palestina dan sikap generasi muda terhadap Palestina dan sikap kita semuanya terhadap Palestina. Jadi sangat dipentingkan karena hari-hari ini terutama kita sedang berada dalam kondisi yang sangat satu pihak kita memperingati Maulid Nabi besar Muhammad SAW, yang memperingatinya dulu dijadikan oleh Sultan Salahuddin Ayyubi sebagai sarana untuk membangkitkan gairahnya umat ya, dan izahnya umat untuk mengalahkan pasukan salib untuk membebaskan Palestina dan Masjidil Aqsa dari penjajahan kalangan pasukan salib. Dan dengan memperingati Maulid, Sultan Salahuddin Ayyubi kemudian berhasil ya membangkitkan gairah umat, membangkitkan kebudayaan umat, membangkitkan keberanian umat untuk kemudian memenangkan jihad mengusir para penjajah mengusir para salibis dan membebaskan Masjid Al-Aqsa dan membebaskan Palestina. Dalam kondisi semacam inilah kita rekan-rekan dari Perhimpunan Pemuda OIC menyelenggarakan acara pada malam hari ini. Dan dalam waktu bersamaan kita melihat bagaimana kemudian dunia sedang sangat dihebohkan dengan peristiwa di Perancis. Bagaimana Presiden Macron begitu luar biasa membela kepentingan dari mereka-mereka yang menuhankan kebebasan berbicara, kebebasan berekspresi, tapi sekaligus tidak bebas berekspresi kalau itu bicara tentang masalah Yahudi. Di Perancis diberlakukan undang-undang antisemitisme dan bahkan belakangan anti-Zionism. Konon bebas berekspresi, termasuk berekspresi menistakan Nabi Muhammad SAW. Tapi kalau orang Perancis atau orang di Perancis berbicara mengkritik Yahudi, itu terkena pidana. Jadi kebebasan berekspresi ini ternyata ya hanya untuk kalau sesuai dengan hawa nafsu mereka, sesuai dengan kepentingan politik mereka. Begitu terkait dengan haknya umat Islam, itu tidak berlaku. Ini tentu tidak fair dan tidak adil gitu ya. Dan kemudian ketika mereka kembali menghidupkan tentang masa karikatur Nabi Muhammad, api kembali mereka nyalakan, ya muncullah asap-asapnya, muncullah kasus-kasus yang kita semuanya menolak. Kita semuanya menolak terorisme, radikalisme, pembunuhan, itu kita semuanya tolak. Tapi itu semuanya kan reaksi atas aksi yang mereka buat. Ya, seandainya mereka tidak mempergunakan dalih kebebasan berekspresi dan kemudian tidak konsisten karena mereka tidak bebas berekspresi untuk mengkritik Yahudi gitu ya. Kemudian mereka melakukan mengkriminalkan dan kemudian terjadi tindakan kriminal itu dan kemudian Presiden Macron bukan kemudian mendudukkan masalah, tapi malah memanas-manasi ya dengan menyebut Islam dan umat Islam dan menyebutkan Islamofobia, menyebutkan terorisme Islam, Islamofobia pada ujung akhirnya. Padahal seandainya Presiden Macron mengikuti keputusan dari Peradilan HAM Eropa yang bersidang di Strasbourg pada tahun 2018. Jadi di Strasbourg itu ada salah satu kota di Perancis, pusat daripada Peradilan HAM Eropa, ada di Strasbourg di Prancis itu. Mereka waktu itu menyidangkan kasus pelecehan terhadap Nabi Muhammad yang terjadi di Austria. Jadi seorang perempuan menghina Nabi Muhammad dengan menyebutnya sebagai pedofilia dan kemudian dihukum di Austria. Dia tidak puas dengan vonis itu, kemudian dia mengadu ke Mahkamah HAM Eropa di Strasbourg. Dan Mahkamah HAM Eropa menyidangkan kasus ini dan keputusannya adalah bahwa menghinakan atau menghina tokoh agama dan agama itu sudah melampaui batas kebebasan berekspresi. Dan bahkan menghina agama itu diputuskan bahkan oleh Dewan HAM PBB sebagai bentuk pelanggaran terhadap HAM. Jadi harusnya Presiden Macron yang mengetahui bahwa masalah ini sangat sensitif, harusnya dia merujuk kepada keputusan dari Mahkamah HAM di Strasbourg di Perancis untuk menyetop dan menghentikan ini karena menghina Nabi Muhammad adalah bukan kebebasan berekspresi dan mengikuti apa yang disampaikan oleh Dewan HAM PBB yang menegaskan bahwa menghina tokoh agama apalagi Nabi adalah justru pelanggaran HAM. Seandainya itu dilakukan oleh Presiden Macron, ya kegaduhan ini akan selesai. Tidak akan terjadi kemudian peristiwa-peristiwa yang mengikutinya, termasuk juga boykot-boykot itu tidak akan terjadi karena tidak ada asap kalau tidak ada api. Jadi apinya kalau dimatikan maka tidak ada asap. Sayang sekali Presiden Macron bukannya menyelesaikan masalah sesuai dengan prinsip keadilan dan sesuai dengan prinsip HAM yang diputuskan oleh pengadilan HAM tadi itu, tapi bahkan beliau malah ikut memanas-manasi dengan kita tidak akan balik kanan, kita akan terus, ini adalah prinsip dasar kita. Prinsip dasar yang mana? Karena ternyata itu tidak berlaku bagi orang Yahudi gitu ya. Karena itu bahkan bertentangan dengan keputusan daripada peradilan HAM. Jadi saya mengatakan masalah Palestina ini kemudian menjadi dibuat untuk kemudian dilupakan dengan peristiwa-peristiwa yang dimunculkan ini. Sambil juga kemudian dalam bentuk yang lain terjadilah beragam peristiwa yang lain yang juga membuat perhatian publik menjadi terpecah yang lain. Isu terkait dengan perang dingin dan mungkin akan menjadi perang panas ya antara Amerika dengan China. Dalam konteks kita di Indonesia jadi semakin mencolok ketika Menteri Pertahanan Indonesia datang ke Amerika Serikat dan kemudian Menteri Luar Negeri Amerika datang ke Indonesia dan dan mereka tegas menyampaikan agar Indonesia dalam tanda kutip berpihak pada kepentingan kepada Amerika Serikat melawan China. Jadi tentu menjadi isu yang juga sangat hangat ya di Laut Cina Selatan atau di Laut Natuna Utara. Ya. Masalahnya menjadi juga semakin tajam dengan kemudian di situ ada faktor Malaysia, ada faktor Vietnam, ada faktor Filipina, dan itu pun juga menjadi masalah yang juga tidak sederhana. Belum lagi ditambah dengan perkembangan terkait dengan masalah Palestina itu sendiri. Beberapa negara sudah menyatakan untuk membuka hubungan diplomatik secara lengkap ya dengan Palestina. Ya di situ ada Emirat, ada Bahrain, dan kemudian belakangan ada Sudan dan seterusnya. Tentu ini menjadi bagian daripada yang membuat perhatian terhadap masalah Palestina menjadi semakin bercabang-cabang. Belum lagi ditambah dengan fakta tentang bagaimana isu Palestina ini dalam konteks kampanye pemilihan presiden di Amerika Serikat juga menjadi bagian dari yang pastilah Donald Trump maupun juga Joe Biden pasti juga ingin mendapatkan dukungan dari lobi Yahudi, dan itu pasti akan memberikan sekian banyak konsesi untuk kepentingan Yahudi dan dalam ini adalah kepentingan Israel. Sekalipun Joe Biden mencoba untuk mendekati umat Islam dengan beragam pernyataan-pernyataannya, tapi pastilah tidak akan meninggalkan kepentingan Israel, karena begitulah tabiat daripada Amerika Serikat. Dan yang terakhir tentu adalah kasus yang kaitannya dengan COVID-19. Ini pasti sesuatu yang membuat permasalahan ini menjadi masalah Palestina menjadi perhatian ke sana, menjadi fokusnya menjadi terbelah karena memang seluruh dunia sedang terkena COVID-19. Apakah ini adalah memang pandemi atau plandemi? Ada yang mengatakan ini adalah plandemi. Ini memang adalah satu pandemi yang direncanakan, artinya sesuatu yang tidak natural, tapi ada yang merencanakan terjadinya pandemi ini, plandemi gitu ya. Apapun, tetapi yang jelas ini kemudian membuat perhatian fokus kepada masalah Palestina menjadi terbelah ke dalam banyak isu. Sementara di lapangan kita tahu bagaimana Israel terus ya melakukan tindakan-tindakan untuk kemudian mengokohkan hegemoninya, Gaza yang tetap terus diisolasi dan diserang, dan kemudian mereka mengabaikan resolusi PBB dengan tetap membiarkan jadinya Yerusalem sebagai ibu kota Palestina, ibu kota Israel. Dan bahkan Netanyahu mengatakan bahwa akan menjadikan ibu kota Yerusalem itu seluruhnya adalah ibu kota Israel, dan tidak ada istilah Yerusalem Timur untuk ibu kota Palestina. Dan mereka tetap terus melakukan pembangunan pemukiman di tepi barat maupun juga di daerah-daerah pendudukan Israel, yang itu semuanya bertentangan dengan kepentingan resolusi PBB. Jadi saya mengatakan permasalahannya memang menjadi sangat rumit, sekalipun memang dari sisi Palestina seluruh perkembangan ini justru menghadirkan Palestina yang berkomitmen untuk bersatu, baik terkait dengan masalah perjuangannya maupun juga penolakan terhadap seluruh perkembangan yang ada. Bahkan mereka merasa dikhianati dengan beragam perkembangan yang ada, termasuk mereka sepakat untuk mengadakan pemilu yang dipercepat dan lain sebagainya. Ada hal yang kemudian diharapkan itu menjadi hikmah positif, tetapi apakah itu akan cukup untuk mengatasi seluruh isu yang berkembang ini adalah sebuah tantangan yang harus juga dijawab oleh saudara-saudara kita di Palestina dan kita yang di luar Palestina untuk ikut menjadi bagian dari solusi dan ikut mendoakannya. Bagaimana dengan kita di Indonesia? Tentu saja kita di Indonesia mempunyai beragam pegangan yang sangat mendasar. Saya berapa kali dihubungi atau dalam dialog dengan beragam tokoh, dan mereka mengatakan, dan ngapain juga kita Indonesia tidak membuka hubungan dengan Israel. Itu negara-negara Arab sudah mulai banyak membuka hubungan dengan Israel. Saya bilang ya tidak semua negara Arab membuka hubungan dengan Israel, tapi Indonesia adalah negara berdaulat. Dan kedaulatan Indonesia jelas menegaskan bahwa dirinya bebas dan aktif, dan kita dibingkai dengan pembukaan Undang-Undang Dasar yang menegaskan di alinea pertamanya bahwa kemerdekaan adalah hak segala bangsa, dan karena segala bentuk penjajahan adalah tidak sesuai dan harus dinyahkan dari muka bumi karena tidak sesuai dengan prinsip keadilan dan kemerdekaan itu. Nah, ini sikap dasar, dan itulah yang kemudian pernah dinyatakan oleh Bung Karno. Bung Karno pernah menyatakan ketika Bung Karno tidak mau mengundang Israel menjadi peserta dalam konferensi Asia Afrika tahun 55, dan Bung Karno hanya mengundang perwakilan dari Palestina, Syekh Alamin Al-Husaini, dan kemudian ketika dalam penyisihan untuk Olimpiade sepak bola dunia tahun 1959-1960, Bung Karno lebih memilih untuk tidak ikut di dalam babak penyisihan kalau harus melawan dengan Israel. Bahkan beliau kemudian menyampaikan pidatonya amat sangat lugas bahwa selama Israel masih menjajah Palestina, maka selama itu juga Indonesia tidak membuka hubungan dengan Israel. Ungkapan yang sangat jelas, dan saya katakan kepada para tokoh kita bahwa pimpinan kita adalah Bung Karno. Kita adalah Indonesia negara berdaulat, dan kita mempunyai arahan dari Undang-Undang Dasar, kita mempunyai sikap yang sangat jelas yang terus diikuti oleh presiden-presiden berikutnya, yaitu sikap dari Bung Karno yang menegaskan bahwa selama Israel menjajah Palestina, maka selama itu juga Indonesia tidak membuka hubungan dengan Israel. Karena memang kita akan lihat bahwa beberapa negara yang sudah membuka hubungan dengan Israel, seringkali kan alasannya adalah ya kita tidak mungkin bisa menghadirkan perdamaian di Palestina kalau kita tidak punya hubungan langsung dengan Israel. Mari kita lihat fakta bahwa ada dua negara yang sudah lama membuka hubungan dengan Israel, yaitu Mesir dan Jordan. Mesir dan Jordan sudah lama membuka hubungan dengan Israel. Apakah yang kemudian bisa dihadirkan oleh Mesir dan Jordan untuk kepentingan Palestina? Justru semakin lama bukan semakin kokoh eksistensi Palestina, malah semakin dipersempit, semakin dihilangkan, semakin dalam tanda kutip ya hak-hak mereka semakin tidak bisa terpenuhi, dan Israel semakin hegemonik. Dulu tidak pernah ada cerita tentang Yerusalem sebagai ibu kota Israel. Sekarang ibu kota Israel menjadi Yerusalem, dan belakangan bahkan Israel dengan pongahnya mengatakan bahkan Yerusalem Timur pun tidak diberikan untuk Palestina. Jadi teori bahwa tidak bisa menghadirkan perdamaian kecuali berhubungan dengan Israel ternyata terbantahkan secara langsung dari hasil hubungan Israel dengan hubungan Mesir dan Jordania dengan Israel. Mereka sudah lama membuka hubungan dengan Palestina, dengan Israel, dan hasilnya tidak ada yang menghadirkan kebaikan bagi Palestina. Gaza tetap diisolasi. Itu terjadi pada saat mereka mempunyai hubungan dengan Israel. Maksud saya ketika Mesir dan Jordan mempunyai hubungan dengan Israel. Tapi ternyata Palestina dibelah menjadi dua, ada di Gaza, ada di Ramallah, dan mereka tidak bisa mengatasi hal itu. Terlalu banyak masalah yang kemudian justru semakin lama semakin merugikan Israel. Jadi dalih bahwa tidak bisa menghadirkan damai di Palestina kecuali dengan membuka hubungan dengan Israel ternyata dibantahkan oleh hasil begitu lamanya Mesir berhubungan dengan Palestina, dan Mesir dan Jordan berhubungan dengan Palestina, dan ternyata berhubungan dengan Israel, dan ternyata tidak ada hasilnya bagi kepentingan Palestina. Jadi secara Indonesia demikian, kita punya sikap yang jelas baik secara konstitusi maupun juga secara politik, gitu ya. Dari apa yang kemudian dihasilkan melalui membuka hubungan damai, ternyata juga demikianlah yang telah dihadirkan oleh Mesir dan juga sudah dihadirkan oleh Israel. Kalau kita lihat juga belakangan kan selalu kemudian orang menyebut tentang pemberantasan terorisme, pemberantasan radikalisme, dan seterusnya. Kita akan lihat bahwa negara yang sudah punya hubungan damai dengan Israel juga ternyata tidak bisa menghentikan akar masalah daripada radikalisme dan terorisme. Apa itu akar masalah radikalisme dan terorisme? Ya, penjajahan Israel. Penjajahan Israel inilah yang menjadi akar dari radikalisme, dari terorisme. Mereka lah yang memulai penyebaran terorisme radikalisme. Israel didirikan dengan terorisme dan radikalisme Ghana dan kemudian kelompok-kelompok yang kemudian terorisme Israel dan bahkan terorisme negara Israel itu bahkan semakin merajalela dan bahkan bisa menghadirkan veto dari negara-negara anggota tetap Dewan Keamanan PBB. Terorisme ini ternyata tidak bisa dikoreksi, termasuk oleh negara-negara yang sudah punya hubungan dengan Israel, Mesir, dan Jordan. Sehingga kalau publik termasuk di Perancis bicara tentang terorisme dan lain sebagainya, ya induk daripada terorisme yaitu penjajahan Israel terhadap Palestina, ya semakin lama bukan semakin membaik, semakin lama malah semakin menyesakkan, semakin lama semakin berat, semakin lama semakin canggih, semakin represif, semakin banyak korbannya. Dan itu artinya adalah bahwa kalau kita ingin melawan dan mengkoreksi terorisme dengan sesungguhnya, ya salah satu di antaranya adalah harus mengkoreksi tentang keberadaan daripada Israel yang adalah negara teroris itu. Dan itu ternyata tidak bisa dilakukan oleh dua negara yang sudah mempunyai hubungan diplomatik dalam waktu yang lama dengan Israel. Dan terakhir yang saya sampaikan dalam kesempatan ini adalah bahwa ke depan tentu saja peta yang akan sangat dinamis ya, karena tadi peristiwa antara Amerika dengan China kita belum tahu nanti bagaimana ujung akhirnya begitu ya. Dan kemudian peristiwa yang terjadi di Perancis bagaimana ujung akhirnya kita masih belum bisa menyimpulkan secara definitif karena memang permasalahannya semakin merumit juga. Karena peristiwa ini juga di satu pihak malah juga menyatukan ya banyak pihak di negara-negara Arab gitu ya. Banyak pihak yang kemudian di luar kasus ini mereka berseberangan, tapi dalam kasus ini mereka bersatu gitu. Ini tentu juga sangat menarik kalau kemudian kasus Macron ini kemudian malah menyatukan negara-negara Arab dan atau bangsa-bangsa Arab atau bangsa-bangsa Islam. Itu akan menjadi sesuatu yang bisa jadi model untuk kemudian menyatukan perjuangan umat untuk kepentingan Palestina, membebaskan Masjid Al-Aqsa, menghadirkan eksistensi daripada umat yang ujung akhirnya seperti pernah disampaikan oleh Presiden Recep Tayyip Erdogan ketika beliau membuka Hagia Sophia, beliau menyampaikan dari Hagia Sophia maka akan dibuka juga lah Masjid Al-Aqsa. Jadi bisa saja dari peristiwa yang kemudian menghadirkan gonjang-ganjing ya hubungan umat Islam dengan Prancis, dan di situ ada Erdogan, di situ ada boykot dari negara-negara Arab, di situ ada pernyataan yang sangat tegas dari negara-negara Arab dan negara-negara Islam ya. Bisa jadi ini justru menguatkan untuk kemudian seperti yang disampaikan oleh Recep Tayyip Erdogan menjadi pintu juga untuk kemudian bisa dibawa kepada menguatkan posisi umat untuk membantu Palestina, menyelamatkan Palestina agar Palestina tidak semakin dijajah oleh Israel, agar kemudian Yerusalem bisa dikembalikan menjadi ibu kota Palestina. Saya kira demikian rekan-rekan sekalian, terima kasih untuk kesempatan ini dan selamat melanjutkan diskusi. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Mr. Hidayat Wahid, for delivering the remarks. Next, because Mr. Jibril any other agenda in other place, so I would like to invite Mayor General Jibril Rajab, Ministry of Youth and Sports State of Palestine, to give keynote speech. Is Alexis?
شكرا. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Mr. Saifi Effendi, President of OIC Youth Indonesia, His Excellence Taha Ayhan, President of Islamic Cooperation Youth Forum, His Excellence Dr. Hidayat Noor Wahid, Vice Spokesperson of People Consultatives Assembly, His Excellence Dr. Zain Amali, Minister of Youth and Sports, dear participants, Your Excellencies, at the outset, we would like to extend our sincere thanks and appreciation to the Executive Council of Indonesia's Youth and everyone who contributed to organizing this important forum to commemorate the International Day of Solidarity with the Palestinian people. And we welcome all the lecturers and participants from all countries and organizations, especially the youth. We affirm the importance of this forum, which will open a wide dialogue to introduce the latest developments in the Palestinian cause and how to support the Palestinian people in these difficult times. And it's an opportunity to present ideas, exchange views, and coordinate positions to face challenges and the imperatives to intensify cooperation and solidarity with the Palestinian people. In these exceptional circumstances, our countries and the whole world are going through. Brothers and friends, ladies and gentlemen, Palestine with its capital Al-Quds Al-Sharif and its just cause and the rights of its people have been from the very beginning at the core and essence of youth activities and the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, which has always stood with us in international forums and bodies, and has always been at the forefront of supporters and defenders of Palestine in order to enable our people to determine their own destiny and again its freedom and independence. During more than 70 years, the Palestinian people have gone through many disasters and Nakba, for they sacrificed, suffered, and being martyred and arrested defending their history, but that did not discourage our people from the struggle, nor from continuing its march out of faith with its constants and national goals as stipulated in international legitimacy resolutions. We have accepted international legitimacy and international law as a rule to solve our cause, and we have accepted negotiations, dialogue, political and peaceful popular resistance as a way to reach a solution to all final status issues, leading to a peace treaty that leads to independence and ends occupation and conflict. However, the Israeli occupation state has been eluding, and now the head of the Israeli occupation government announces his rejection of the two-state solution and his continuing annexation and settlements operations in our occupying land in order to undermine the establishment of the Palestinian state. And the occupation government is changing the identity and character of Al-Quds Al-Sharif, the capital of our state, and has issued racist laws by its siege. It's isolated the Gaza Strip from the rest of the homeland and from the world, suffocated our economy, piracy our money, and confiscating resources and violating all political, economic, and security arrangements concluded with it. All of these comes with the encouragement of the current US administration, which is violating international legitimacy. The normalization of relations between some Arab and Islamic countries with the Israeli occupation state will not bring peace or security to the region, and it's contrary to the Arab Peace Initiative. Rather, it will encourage Israel to escape from peace and negotiations on the basis of international law. Excellencies, dear brothers and sisters, international law is the cornerstone of the international system, and it does not tolerate duplication and distortion, and dealing with Israel as a state above the law encourages it to continue to act as an outlaw state. It's time for the international community to assume its responsibilities to put an end to this Israeli aggression on our land, our existence, and our future. The time has come to take practical measures that protect the Palestinian people and enable them to exercise their right to self-determination and again their freedom and independence on their land occupied since 1967 with Al-Quds as its capital. But the bigger question remains, what can be done to oblige Israel to respect international legitimacy and international law to solve the Palestinian-Israeli conflict at a time when Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas is showing the Palestinians' willingness for serious negotiations on the basis of international legitimacy and has invited the Secretary General of the United Nations to organize an international peace conference early next year. The answer to what can be done consists of several points. First, as a matter of justice and preserving the two-state solution, the states that recognize Israel and have not yet recognized the state of Palestine should recognize the Palestinian state on the basis of 67 borders with the Al-Quds Sharif as its capital in order to preserve what remains of a slight chance to reach the existing just and comprehensive peace based on the international legitimacy and international law in a manner that guarantees security, stability, and peace for the Palestinian and Israeli peoples, the region, and the whole world. World countries must refrain from concluding any agreement that involves any portion of the Palestinian occupied territories since 1967, and a special clause to confirm this must be added in any agreement. All states have to affirm that the two-state solution is based on 67 borders in accordance with international legitimacy and international law, and the state, Israel must withdraw from all occupied Palestinian lands, including Jerusalem, and not accept settlements and annexation plans, and affirm that this is the only way to solve the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. Linking the development of relations with Israel to the extent of its commitment to international law, and that violating this will have consequences or reduction in the level of relations. Excellencies, dear friends, despite the case of disappointment, we remain convinced of the international system that respects international law and ensures its enforcement. The state of Palestine will continue to engage in all efforts aimed at strengthening the rule of international law, including strengthening our institutions, spreading a culture of peace, and empowering our people, especially women and youth. Excellencies, dear friends, on the other hand, we will continue to make efforts to unify our land and people, and through elections that we will call soon. We are currently engaged in a broad dialogue with all Palestinian factions in order to create a comprehensive political condition and national unity, and I can assure you that it's a matter of time, and we will have national reconciliation and national unity. Excellencies, dear friends, on the anniversary of the International Day of Solidarity with the Palestinian people, and on the occasion of this forum, we extend our thanks and appreciation to all of you and to all countries, governments, organizations, and peoples that have expressed their solidarity with the Palestinian people and supported their legitimate struggle and emphasized their determination and steadfastness in the darkest times as they face the most difficult challenge. And from the bottom of my heart, I would like to extend on behalf of our people and our president and our government, our gratitude to the people of Indonesia and to the president, Mr. Joko Widodo, and to Her Excellency, the Foreign Minister, who are contributing and working day and night in order to help Palestine and its people. Thank you all and wish you all success.
Thank you, Mr. Jubil Rajab, for King's speech.
خلاص يلا تعالوا.
Okay, next agenda, which is panel symposium on youth solidarity for Palestine. Before we start the symposium panel session, we listen to the tilawah by Tabrani. I would like to invite Mr. Tabrani. Mr. Tabrani.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون واعتصموا بحبل الله جميعا ولا تفرقوا واذكروا نعمة الله عليكم إذ كنتم أعداء فألف بين قلوبكم فأصبحتم بنعمته إخوانا وكنتم على شفا حفرة من النار فأنقذكم منها كذلك يبين الله لكم آياته لعلكم تهتدون ولتكن منكم أمة يدعون إلى الخير ويأمرون بالمعروف وينهون عن المنكر وأولئك هم المفلحون ولا تكونوا كالذين تفرقوا واختلفوا من بعد ما جاءهم البينات وأولئك لهم عذاب عظيم صدق الله العظيم والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Mr. Tobroni. Next, now we are about to start the main agenda of the meeting. That is the symposium panel, the 42nd commemoration of International Day of Solidarity with Palestinian People. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we are about to start our symposium panel. So this session will be moderated by Ms. Astrid Nadia Rizkita. She is very concerned to support Palestine and will be leading the talk related this issue. So without further ado, I would like to invite Ms. Astrid. To Ms. Astrid, welcome to Guide Further.
Thank you so much, Ms. Rismaya, for the excellent emceeing as the master of ceremony of this very important event. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening, everyone, and for some of you in different parts of the world, good afternoon. My name is Astrid Nadia Rizkita, and I will be serving you as the moderator for the panel of symposium regarding youth solidarity for Palestine. For information, this event is co-organized with the UKM Bahasa Flat UIN Jakarta, or the Foreign Language Association of UIN Jakarta. We'd like to thank them for the excellent planning and organizing of the event, such that tomorrow, starting on the 31st October until the 8th of November, we will have the Arabic speech and debate competition, and also English. And we'd also like to thank the Embassy of State of Palestine to Indonesia for the support. And also we'd like to thank as well the guests and distinguished speakers present in this symposium, namely the President of ICYF, Mr. Taha Ayhan, and also the Minister of Youth and Sports of State of Palestine, Mayor General Jibril Rajuk, and Vice Speaker of MPR RI, Dr. Hidayat Nur Wahid, and also the representative of Ministry of Youth and Sports, which is represented by Mr. Esa Sukmawijaya as the Head of Planning and Organization Bureau. Before we start the symposium panel, I'd like to give the floor to our senior and also advisor at OIC Youth Indonesia, Mr. Esa Sukmawijaya, as the representative of Ministry of Youth and Sports Republic of Indonesia, to give some remarks. To Mr. Esa, we give the floor to you.
Thank you, Astrid. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi.
Alhamdulillah. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala Sayyidina Muhammad. This is the forum for you at this moment. Hope that everything will be okay for you. And also, I, Mrs. Syafi'i Effendi, as a President of OIC Indonesia. Apa kabar Bang Syafi'i? Sehat Bang Syafi'i? Also like to say thank you for attending this kind of symposium. As a speaker, Ashun, Ambassador of the State of Palestine of Indonesia. The other speaker is Mr. Jufitri Joha, President of Majelis Ulama Malaysia, and Mr. Saroni Rofi PhD, journalist, Wayu Lobo sakitnya, sedangkan sakit tadi. Dear brother and sister, our participant Indonesia, the Ministry of Youth and Sport of Indonesia, we would like to say thank you for attending this kind of symposium. As we know that freedom is the most sacred freedom is the most sacred thing that every mankind has to possess. How can we live in prosper, live in peace, but still in cycle? Of course, it is impossible. Every nation actually should thrive in freedom without any fear of occupation. We know also that it written in our constitution from beginning to the day we declare independence. Independence is the right for human mankind in the world. In this context, we also would like to appreciate what the struggle for life for our brother and sister in Palestine, That's why in this symposium, I would like to rise about that condition as Mr. The several minutes ago mentioned before that Israel is our enemy and Palestine is our friend. It means that up to at the end of the day in the world, as Hadith declared that we should have a strong leadership, a strong commitment, a strong cooperation with our brother and sister in Palestine. That's why again, on behalf of the Ministry of Youth and Sport of Indonesia, I would like to appreciate that you have done in this context, in this symposium. I think that's all our remarks. Again, that we should have the strong spirit to fight what we call contrary with our independence. Okay, thank you, Astrid, and hopefully that this museum will run better and better. Thank you so much. We apologize if any mistake. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much, Mr. Esa Sukmawijaya, for your remarks. And for your information to all the audience and participants, in fact, the International Solidarity Day for Palestine is commemorated annually, and this year is the 42nd. And actually, our event is 1 month earlier than the annual commemoration, which is on the 27th of November, which means that we are very much with the people of Palestine, and also as the OIC Youth Indonesia, as the umbrella organization of Muslim youth organizations in Indonesia, we are concerned on three things. First is regarding OIC, or the issues pertaining to the Ummah, youth, meaning the youth issues, and also Indonesia in terms of responding to different kinds of issues that affect us. Because we believe that youth is not only the future, but the present. And this is not just mere jargon or tokenism, because, for example, for me, as the Secretary General of OIC Youth Indonesia, we have Muslim youth organizations with us. We are young leaders in and of itself. And what we do today determines the future. And as mentioned by Mr. Esa regarding the opening of our constitution, UUD 1945, in which all forms of colonialism is to be removed from the face of the earth. And that is why our founding father, Insinyur Soekarno, is very much vocal about supporting the cause of Palestine. And we hope it is remaining so till the end. And regarding the theme of the Youth Solidarity for Palestine of the symposium, we are very much honored to have the speakers, His Excellency Ambassador Zuhair Al-Shun as the Ambassador of State of Palestine to Indonesia, and also President Julfitri Joha as the President of Majelis Bela Malaysia, or the Malaysian Youth Council, and also Dr. Syaroni Rofi'i. He's an academician and lecturer at Universitas Indonesia, graduate studies at Strategic Department program. And also one of our panel speakers, Mr. Tantan Taufik Lubis, the Vice President of ICYF, is unfortunately unable to join us because he is unwell. And we hope that he'll get better soon. But for those of you who have joined from the beginning, we actually have played a song, Tribute to Palestine, the music video. And the song was 100% written by him. It was also, the arrangement was done by him as well. And actually the master of ceremony of the symposium, Ms. Rismaya, and me and others from OIC Indonesia were also in the music video. So it shows that regardless of our contribution we are able to support Palestine in many ways. And inshallah, after this symposium, we'll be releasing the music video on our YouTube channel. Without any further ado, please, I'd like to give the floor to His Excellency Ambassador Zuhair Al-Shun. And as this is a multi-language forum, we have prepared interpreters stationed with us, so they're ready to translate if there's any need to translate from Arabic to English and vice versa. So to Your Excellency, Mr. Ambassador Zuhair Al-Shun, the time and floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And it's my pleasure, my brother, sister, to be with you this evening with such important program. Let me first of all to welcome all the speakers, His Excellency Dr. Hidayat Noor Wahid and Taha, President of Islamic Cooperation Youth, and His Excellency Zainuddin Amali and Sufyani Effendi, the President of OIC Youth Indonesia, and all the speakers who have already joined us in this evening. Actually, my minister already, he have delivered his speech, and it was, it covered all the political issues in this regard. But anyhow, I'm going to give some briefing about some points and the three issues you have already mentioned in your agenda. And I have already my translation. I think he's already on the video and in the picture, Rivaldo. I think I'm going to give my keynotes in Arabic, and then he will translate it to Bahasa directly to be understood by everybody. المسألة الأولى وهي المسألة الضم annexation التي تحدث عنها الإسرائيليون قبل أشهر وأعطت زخم في الأوساط الفلسطينية والأوساط المحيطة والأوساط الدولية. والذي أريد أن أقوله في هذه المسألة أن مشكلة فلسطين لا تقع على جزء محدد. يوم يقولون موضوع القدس وموضوع العاصمة الأمريكية في مدينة القدس، ويوم يقولون الاستيطان، ويوم يقولون التهويد القدس، ويوم يقولون بناء وتوسيع المستوطنات. الحقيقة أننا نعيش أزمة حقيقية، هي أزمة الاحتلال. الاحتلال الجاثم على هذه الأرض هو الذي يخلق هذه المتاعب لنا ويضع هذه العراقيل التي نواجهها يوميا من قتل ومن مضايقات ومن اعتداءات من قبل المستوطنين، من قبل الجنود وغيرهم. لذلك أقول عندما نتخلص من هذا الاحتلال كافة المشاكل يمكنها أن تزول نهائيا. هذا فيما يتعلق بهذه المسألة التي تريد إسرائيل أن تقدم عليها. موضوع الضم كما أشرت له سابقا في عديد من الندوات، إسرائيل تريد أن تستقطع 33% من هذه الأرض الخاصة بالدولة الفلسطينية المحيطة مع منطقة الأغوار ومنطقة بيسان والحدود مع الأردن والبحر الميت، لأنها منطقة حساسة، منطقة خصبة، سلة الغذاء بالنسبة للفلسطينيين. فتريد إسرائيل أن تهدم الحلم الفلسطيني وهو الدولة الفلسطينية. لذلك أقول لكم أن الشعب الفلسطيني بهذه المناسبة مصمم ولن يتنازل ولن يتراجع عن الهدف المنشود، وهو الاستمرار في المقاومة وفي الوصول إلى الدولة الفلسطينية العتيدة التي نعمل جادين من أجل تحقيق هذا الحلم الذي تعمل عليه القيادة الفلسطينية. الذي أوقف مسألة الضم، وأريد أن أكون صريحا معكم في هذه الجلسة، أن الصمود الفلسطيني والنجاح الدبلوماسية الفلسطينية ساهم في إلزام إسرائيل على تأجيل هذه الصفقة، وربما تقدم إسرائيل في المستقبل على تنفيذ هذا المخطط، ولكن شعبنا بالمرصاد من أجل إفشال جميع المخططات الإسرائيلية والأمريكية. المسألة الثانية وهي موضوع الذي أشرتم له في دور الشباب أو التطبيع. أولا التطبيع يعني لا أريد أن أتحدث به مطولا، ولكن يعني نحن نأسف لكل هذه المسائل التي حصلت، لأنها تتنافى مع يعني خليني أقول المواقف العربية والمواقف الإسلامية التي تطالب أن يحصل الشعب الفلسطيني على حقوقه الكاملة، على استقلاله، على سيادته على أرضه، حتى يعني من ثم يتم هناك النظر في مسألة التطبيع أو مسألة إقامة علاقات مع هذا الكيان المحتل. هذه هي القاعدة التي نصت عليها جامعة الدول العربية واعتمدتها الOIC الذي هذا البرنامج من خلال منظمة التعاون الإسلامي. لذلك أقول أن الدول التي خرجت عن هذه المنظومة خالفت هذه القواعد وخرجت عن هذا النصوص وطعنت الشعب الفلسطيني بظهره، ويعني أساءت لهذا النضال ولقدسية القدس وللشهداء وللأسرى وللدماء التي سقطت على مدار هذه السنوات والأعوام. المسألة الثالثة الذي أريد أن أتحدث فيها وهي دور الشباب youth support for the Palestinian just cause. لا شك أن الشباب بكل ما يملكه من القوة والذكاء والإبداع له دور مهم في بناء المجتمع، وكما قال الشعراء: ما من أمة إلا والشباب ركن دولتها ورافع رايتها وسبيل عزتها وباعث نهضتها ومحقق آمالها. لذا فإن الشباب يمكن أن يلعب دورا فعالا ومؤثرا في نصرة القضية الفلسطينية. كذلك يمكن أن يزيد من مسؤولية الشباب المسلم ما تمر به الأمة من تحديات لا تزول إلا بكدهم واجتهادهم، حتى تسترجع الأم سيادتها ومجدها وتسترد كرامتها السلبية وأرضها المنهوبة المسلوبة وتتأثر بشهدائها. في هذا الإطار أقول فهم أبعاد القضية الفلسطينية وتاريخها مهم جدا بالنسبة للشباب الواعي والصح. استغلال هذه الفترة من أعمارهم التي تحتوي على كنز من الأوقات لا يعرف قيمتها الكثير إلا بعد فوات الأوان. لذلك أوجه كل شاب يريد أن يخدم أمته وينصر القضية الفلسطينية أن يقرأ ليعرف حقيقة ما حكه الأعداء لهذه الأمة من مؤامرات، ولا نستهتر بهذا الواجب، فإن مفتاح قيام هذه الأمة هو كلمة اقرأ. ومشكلتنا في الواقع أننا أمة قليلة القراءة جدا مقارنة بغيرنا من الأمم. لذا الاستغلال الأمثل لشبكة الإنترنت وتكنولوجيا الاتصالات وإنشاء المنتديات والمدونات والصفحة الخاصة بالقضية الفلسطينية وتقديم المقالات والكتب والصور والخرائط، كل ذلك يخدم ويشرح القضية الفلسطينية من وجهة النظر الصحيحة وينقل للناس فظائع الاحتلال الصهيوني. ومن هنا أقول أن ضرورة العمل على تشجيع وتحفيز الجميع على تقديم الدعم المالي والسياسي والاقتصادي من أجل القضية الفلسطينية. هذا ما أردت أن أقوله في هذا السياق، ويعني دعني أشكركم جميعا على هذا البرنامج الذي يخدم القضية الفلسطينية ويخدم الشباب العربي والإسلامي وتطلعاته نحو المستقبل. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. I'll give now our translator, if he's there ready, to give in briefing whatever I have mentioned in Arabic. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, Your Excellency, for your statement. And now we'd like to give the floor to Mr. Rivaldo for the translation of his speech by His Excellency.
Mbak Astrid?
Yes.
Bukan ada translasi dari ini?
Oh ya. Ya.
Saya mendengarkan. Saya diputus koneksinya tadi.
Now we'd like to give the floor to the committee, Mr. Rico, for the translation of the speech by His Excellency.
This is I translate from Arabic to Indonesia or Arabic into English language.
You can translate to Indonesian.
Okay. Saya akan menerjemahkan materi yang disampaikan oleh Kedubes Palestina untuk Indonesia tadi. Beliau membawa 3 masalah kepada kesempatan ini. Yang pertama adalah masalah aneksasi. Dalam banyak kesempatan, aneksasi ini menjadi perbincangan yang sangat ramai. Kita lihat di media banyak sekali yang merilis tentang berita aneksasi. Aneksasi yang dibicarakan oleh Israel kepada Palestina. Jadi di sini Israel ingin menguasai setidaknya 30% dari tanah Palestina. Pemuda Palestina telah merencanakan beberapa tujuan-tujuan untuk mematahkan strategi aneksasi ini, seperti perlawanan-perlawanan dan usaha-usaha untuk Palestina merdeka. Rencana Israel ini, yaitu aneksasi, telah digagalkan pemuda Palestina dengan semangatnya yang sangat menggelora. Yang masalah kedua adalah normalisasi. Yang mana masalah ini sangat disayangkan akan terjadinya kepada Palestina. Maka untuk menyelesaikan masalah ini diperlukan usaha-usaha yang matang dari pemuda, baik dari Palestina maupun dari seluruh dunia untuk ikut mensupport dan menyelesaikan masalah normalisasi. Yang ketiga adalah ad-daur syabab li Palestin, peran pemuda untuk Palestina. Kita pahami bahwa pemuda sangat berperan dalam membina umat. Pemuda memiliki semangat, kecerdasan, kreativitas, dan semangat yang tinggi. Maka dalam kesempatan ini, saya memohon kepada seluruh pemuda untuk mengerahkan segala kemampuannya untuk membantu permasalahan-permasalahan yang ada di Palestina. Dengan adanya ini telah mengindikasikan bahwa kita telah memiliki sebuah langkah-langkah yang akan membantu Palestina keluar dari permasalahan-permasalahan tersebut. Syukron, terima kasih.
Thank you so much, Rico, for the brief interpretation of the speech by Excellency to Indonesian. And now we'd like to give the floor to Ms. Nadia for the English version of the speech.
Thank you for handing me the floor. First of all, I would like to say thank you to His Excellency for the speech that he has given. I will be now interpreting it into English. So what His Excellency had stated earlier in his speech, the first problem is the annexation that has been being talked about from Israel to Palestine itself. Israel wants to take over around 30% of Palestine. The youth of Palestine has also been planning some goals, specifically those of the goals of going against Israel and wanting to have Palestine independent. Israel's plan has been failed by the youth of Palestine with their spirits that are very burned up. The second problem is about the normalization, and it's such a shame that there is a problem of the normalization. There needs to be plans that are already good enough and well planned from the youth to be able to execute these plans and to be able to get rid of the problems. The third problem is the role of the youth for Palestine itself. The youth has a very big role in coordinating the Ummah, and the youth also has a great role in declaring the independence of Palestine. And in this speech, His Excellency wanted to please ask to all of the youth to be able to center all of their efforts to be able to help Palestine and the issues that they are facing. Thank you.
Thank you, Nadia, for the translation. And actually, to summarize, indeed, the annexation is not new. It has been something that Israel has been planning for years. And also regarding the normalization, it is something that has been very much being discussed all over the world, especially in the Muslim world, due to the normalization this year, which took place, and UAE, Bahrain, the Arab countries have followed, and also it leads to further questions. Will other Arab countries and other Muslim majority countries follow suit? And for those of you who'd like to ask questions, you may do so in the chat box, and we'll be picking the questions for the panelists to answer. And in this regard, we're also pleased to have in our symposium representative of other Muslim country, namely Malaysia, Mr. Jufitri Joha, as the president of Majlis Ulama Malaysia. He's been quite vocal as well regarding the normalization, and they also issued a statement rejecting the normalization which took place between UAE and Israel, which was brokered by US in the Abrahamic Accord. And without any further ado, I'd like to give the floor to Mr. Jufiti Joha for his statements and his insight. So, Mr. Jufiti, you may have the floor.
Syukran jazilan. Thank you very much. Terima kasih kepada Astrid selaku moderator. Uhayikum maratan ukhra bi tahiyatil Islam. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. شكرا جزيلا على هذا اللقاء. أنا أشعر بالفرح والسرور بهذا اللقاء لكي نناقش قضية الأمة المهمة، وهي قضية شعب الفلسطين مع أصدقاء خصوصا الشباب في إندونيسيا وفلسطين وماليزيا وتركيا وهلم جارا. Alhamdulillah, thank you very much for this opportunity. I would like to express my special gratitude and thank to the OICU Indonesia for organizing this important event. And I would like to welcome all the panelists, especially His Excellency Ambassador Zuhair, my colleagues Pak Tantan, who always keep emphasizing the special relationship between Malaysia and Indonesia. And I believe that this is part of our good collaborative effort between Malaysia and Indonesia to further strengthening our collaboration to fight for the cause of Ummah, especially tonight in the cause of Palestinian struggle. And I would like also to welcome our brother Dr. Sharoni Rafi'i, lecturer at School of Strategic Studies, University of Indonesia. And also we bring together on board tonight our colleagues from OIC Youth Malaysia to further support our program tonight. And I believe that some of them are online. whether they are in Zooming or in Instagram, and I believe in YouTube channel owned by OIC Youth Indonesia. So brother and sisters, at least for tonight, I have 7 points. Then you know when I will stop, because I'm using point by point to present my case tonight. And once again, I would like to praise OIC Youth Indonesia for organizing such important event tonight. Our duty, of course, and responsibility to keep updating and reinvigorating not only youth in both Malaysia and Indonesia, or even youth in OIC. We have 57 OIC members under OIC and also under ICYF, OIC Youth Forum, led by our brothers Taha Ayhan. But our responsibility to keep update to the rest of the world, even though we are facing unacceptable betrayal from our friends, especially in Bahrain and United Arab Emirates. Shame on you, UAE and Bahrain. Sorry to say. In this defining moment, I would like to reiterate our firm stand on this UAE and Bahrain Israelis relationship issued by issues. By reading once again our media statement that we issued for the past 2 weeks ago, and I would like to quote and read our statement. For the past 2 weeks, the United Arab Emirates and Israel agreed to normalize relations in a landmark US brokered deal. The agreement, first announced by United States America President Donald Trump on Twitter, will see Israel halt its plan to annex large part of the occupied West Bank, according to United Arab Emirates. Malaysian Youth Council, representing of 14.7 million youth in Malaysia, multi-ethnic and multi-races, strongly reject this agreement as it is a betrayal of the wider Muslim world, and of course the rest of the world who love peace, and of course to be specific, the Palestinian cause. And the Palestinian cause, and we are disappointed that UAE decided to ignore the right of Palestinian all the while Gaza is being under attack for the past 8 days. Although the deal supposedly halts the further expansion of the West Bank occupation, we do not believe it will see the light of day. This, however, will only legitimize the illegal occupation and the genocidal war crimes against the Palestinians. Not only will this deal have any significant impact in the ongoing crisis, it will undoubtedly deepen the decades-long Arab-Israeli conflict that we noticed that since 1948 or even earlier than that. This is indeed unacceptable for us, not only in Malaysia, and I believe in Indonesia and the rest of the world who love peace. In the midst of our friends facing not only COVID-19, they are struggling, I believe, in the condition of, in the bad condition. Not only they have to face the atrocity and aggression from the Israeli, unfortunately, they have to face COVID-19. But of course, not only COVID-19, but continuous atrocity and state-sponsored crime by the Israel government. We must make our strong statement, especially our young people in Indonesia, Malaysia, and also Turkey and the rest of the Muslim world. Tonight, we solidly against those betrayal, and we cannot apologize them forever, except if they retreat and make public repentance. So this is our demand and our demand from especially from our friend in Bahrain and UAE. And I urge our youngsters in Indonesia and Malaysia, if you have friends in Bahrain and UAE, please make them wake up and send a strong message to our friend in UAE and Bahrain that this kind of betrayal is unacceptable for us during, especially, I believe, in the eyes of the Palestinian people. My third point, to make it clear, we are not against Jewish people because we believe there are Jewish, good Jewish who are strongly support the Palestinian causes or even fight loudly and boldly towards Zionism aggression. And in fact, I still remember when we, for the past 10 years, we organized yearly in commemoration of Dear Yassin tragedy, normally celebrated during every April each year in Malaysia. We deliberately inviting non-Muslim speakers, especially from the Jewish side, who are against the who are against the Zionism. So we did invite people like Israeli Shamer, one of the famous figure who is an Israeli, but he totally against the aggression and the an aggression made by the Israeli government. We did invited, if I can still remember, Anthony Lewistin, one of the Jewish journalists from Australia, who also against the atrocity sponsored by the Israeli governments towards the Palestinian. So we are against the Zionism, but not Jewish people who love to witness a peaceful coexistence between Muslim, Christian, and Jewish people in the Holy Land. And I would like to notify all the youngsters in Indonesia and Malaysia in Palestinian land inside itself. Not only Muslim is living there, the Christian itself themselves also living there, and some of the Jewish living there. So I believe that um, we are against the Zionism, but not Jewish people who love to witness a peaceful coexistence between Muslim, Christian people in the Holy Land. And it reminisces about our Conviventia concept in Spain, whereby we witnessing when the Muslim rules for almost 800 years, 100 years in Spain. The Muslim ruler not only allow the Christian and the Jewish to live peacefully, but indeed invite them into the administration or the cabinets of the Muslim rulers to be together with them and try to build up the nation together. So as I mentioned earlier, it reminisces about our conviventia, the concept of peaceful coexistence in Spain. And bear in mind that when the Christian expel all the Jewish and the Muslim out from the Spain during Reconquista tragedy, I still remember when we read the history, the Muslim from the Ottomani Empire did invite some of the Jewish Sephardic originally from Spain to give shelter for them. So we are Muslim, we are pro peaceful coexistence. We promote ta'ayush as-silmi between Muslim, Christian, and Jewish. Hence, point to be taken out from this note is that this struggle is not for Muslim only, but it is struggle for all, and those people who uphold justice and human dignity. Allah Ta'ala said, وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي Adam, and indeed we have honored to the children of Adam. Another 3 point, brothers and sisters. The 4th point, it is important to note to our young people that this discourse is extremely important to be dealt with, because as according to the president of International Movement for a Just World, Dr. Chandra Muzaffar, I've had a chance to meet him. He said that if you could settle this Palestinian-Israeli conflict, you can resolve at least 2/3 of the world conflict, because Palestinian and Israeli conflict is a mother of all conflict. So if we manage by contributing ourselves, our energy, our time, our fellow brothers, young and sisters, so we can at least resolve 2/3 of the world conflict, because Palestinian-Israel conflict is all the mother, considered as the mother of all conflict. The thing that we would like to remind our young people in Palestine and outside Palestine, never give up. Our role is to keep fighting and advocate these issues until we gain the final victory. This is a long battle. Never surrender. Be optimistic, and Allah will assess your effort and our effort, not the end product. Allah said in Ayah 42, chapter 9, Surah At-Tawbah, لو كان عرضا قريبا وسفرا قاصدا لاتبعوا ولكن بعدت عليهم الشقة. It's mean, had it been a near gain and easy journey, they would have followed you, but the distance was long for them. This is a nature of struggle, our struggle, that will require you and me to sacrifice our time, our ideas, and our energy. My last 2 points, brothers and sisters. I believe that by encouraging organizing international speech and debate competition ISDC, like what OIC Youth Indonesia has been done, I think for the past 2 days, I believe, participated by our youth in Indonesia, will bring about new creative ideas to keep finding the best solution for this Palestinian struggle. In the era of technological advance, And I believe that most of our young people today is the Z generation, who are the so-called technological junkies with full of ideas, I believe. And you have a lot of creative solution. I believe you can provide new dawn for us. With the hope lies in the hand of the young people. I believe that Indonesia have a lot of young population as what we have in Malaysia. And I also believe almost 60% or 70% of Palestinian population is a young people. I believe that the future is lies in our hand. So I would like to propose for us to organize, in order to further strengthening our effort. I would like to propose for us to organize, maybe later on, maybe we can discuss on these ideas, to organize Muslim, Christian, Jewish Youth Congress, to assemble all the youths who pro for the Palestinian causes, to assemble and to start this new initiative, to have a Muslim, Christian, Jewish Youth Congress to further discuss on this matter and to build up our solidarity between the youth, from the Muslim youth, from the Christian and the Jewish youth, to start this new initiative for finding solution and build up solidarity among young people, especially the young religious adherents of Abrahamic faith. And I propose that OIC Youth Forum, especially led by Dr. His Excellency Taha Ayhan, could lead this initiative to further support our Palestinian cause. My last point, brothers and sisters, and Miss Astrid, despite a betrayal and constant support from Trump regime, I believe more support and sympathy are expected, coming from unexpected people and entity, regardless faith and nation, like what we have before, from as example from Rachel Corrie. If you still remember, one of the teenagers from United States of America. Rachel Corrie was an American activist and diarist. She was a member of a pro-Palestinian group called the International Solidarity Movement, ISM. In fact, we did host the presidents of ISM, I think last 15 years, Brother Adam Shapiro. We did invite him to Malaysia to speak up on these issues. He himself is Jews. And one of his colleagues was Rachel Corrie. Yeah, she was killed by an Israeli Defense Forces (IDF) armor bulldozer in a combat zone in Rafah, in the southern part of the Gaza Strip, under contested circumstances during the height of the Second Palestinian Intifada. I hope Rachel, who are non-Muslim, she is non-Muslim, bear in mind, will remain a source of our youth inspiration to keep fighting injustice and will not compromise with any betrayal act like what Bahrain and UAE did. Shame on you, Bahrain and UAE. So my last point, brothers and sisters, I would like to urge all the young people, especially in Indonesia and Malaysia, to hand in hand to initiate a collaborative effort in fighting for the cause of Palestinian people. I believe that there are so many mechanisms, and you can become a virtual philanthropist, virtual volunteers, to use your technologies, your Tumblr, your Facebook, your YouTube, to spread this message and to have a clear standpoint on Bahrain and UAE, that we cannot accept your supports towards the Israeli, and this is a kind of betrayal for the rest of the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Julkifli Joha, the President of Majlis Belia Malaysia, for the passionate speech and also clear and concise statement regarding the position of the youth of Malaysia with regards to the cause of Palestine. And he has mentioned 7 points, but I'd like to squeeze it into 3 main points, which is first regarding literacy. He mentioned, the historical details and previous efforts, and also the importance of the unity of the Ummah. And third, the importance of dialogue and interdialogue between cultures. And regarding the reason to be or the raison d'etre of the OIC in 1969, it was actually based on the cause for Palestine due to the arson on Masjid al-Aqsa by the Israeli forces. And for the next speaker, Dr. Sharoni, we'd like to have several questions for you. And I think the previous speakers have mentioned many things regarding the current issues as well. And this is very important, especially with the situation, geopolitically today, and also the recent visit of the Secretary of State Mike Pompeo to Indonesia. Although it's based basically regarding the South China Sea issue, but on the social media of our Foreign Minister, Ms. Retno Marsudi, mentioned about Indonesia's firm stance on the Palestine issue. And if we zoom back to 2018 regarding the President Trump proposal and his provocative policy of moving the embassy of US to Jerusalem, which in the year 2020 we were shocked by the normalization that they broker from Arab states to Israel, and also the position of Indonesia, which we are still following. It's important for us to recognize these details and the perspective of academician and researcher, especially in IR. So without any further ado, we'd like to give the floor to Dr. Sharoni Rofi. You may have the floor.
Thank you, Astrid, for your time. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah rabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'du. Al-awwal al-yawm indana al-barnamaj li Rasulina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Wajadna fi ayyi makan fi Indonesia al-muslimun yafrahuna bi miladi Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Next, I would like to speak in English. First of all, I would like to welcome the previous speakers. We have His Excellency Hidayatul Wahid from the Parliament, and then from Ministry of Youth and Sport, Pak Esa, already joined with us previously. Thank you for your time. And then from His Excellency Major General Jibril Najib from Ministry of Youth and Sport of Palestine. And then our ambassador of Palestine in Jakarta, His Excellency Ambassador Zuhair Al-Sun. And then, of course, our president, Toha Ayhan, who delivered speech in the first session related to this program and how OIC youth involved in initiating youth perspective related to the situation in Palestine. And then our brother Shafi Effendi, representing Indonesian representative of OIC youth. And then previously we already hear what the ambassador concern related to the issue of Palestine, how to react to Israel, because in so many occasions Israel they didn't really care about the international law. They don't respect UN resolution and so on. And then previously also our brother Jufitri Juha from MBM, Majelis Belia Malaysia. He is our partner in many programs. I agree with his proposal. The OIC probably need to collaborate to organize, and even that connecting many faiths from Abrahamic religion, from Jew, Christian and Muslim and Buddhist and so on, to talk about what actually the root of this problem. Is it a religious aspect, or this is just a politician use religious narrative to win the game. To summarize my perspective, I would like to share some note I have already prepared. To see the host disabled attendee screening. Okay, Astrid, could you make me co-host? I have some notes related to the current situation related to the issue of Israel Palestinian issue. Masih belum bisa ya, Astrid?
I think the committee can enable Mr. Sharoni to share his screen. Either Diaz or Elena, please.
Okay, yeah.
I already give permission to give share screen, sir. You can do it now, sir.
Okay.
Wait. Okay.
Yeah. Thank
Go
you.
ahead, sir.
Okay, thank you, Diaz. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay, we can start this discussion by showing this picture. This picture is how Donald Trump, as a president of United States, he thought that he can use an alternate way to make a peaceful Israel and Palestine. And then he called this is a deal of century, because according to the Trump administration, that his previous president, the United States president, couldn't make a deal in Middle East, especially in the issue of Israel Palestine. And then Trump showed that I can do this. I can broker the deal between those who involved in conflict. You can see I bring Arab countries and Israel to make a deal. So what Trump won through this deal is he said that the roots of the problem in Israel and Palestine issue is the economic problem. So because the roots of problem is economic, then as a president, we propose the solution for this problem is economy. That's the proposal from Trump. And then through this deal, actually Trump want to pay back what he promised to IPAC. In United States, they have American, Israel, Palestinian. So the organization called IPAC, and then this IPAC, an organization that collecting the Jew or Israel's communities in America. And then during the campaign, Trump said that when I become a president, then I will do certain things. So the deal is part of what the Trump said to the IPAC. So when this deal happened, so I'm not really shocked with this the deal, because Trump already said what in his statement. And then what made this deal is really unfair. For the deal, Trump already invited the representative from Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, while he rejected the perspective of Palestine. And then when Trump created this deal, he used his Jared Kushner, the husband of Ivanka Trump. So because he is a Jew, and then everything that Jews want put in the deal. So that's why this deal is not the peaceful deal. This is the deal that put Israel in the better place rather than Palestine. And then the next one, when the deal sealed in the Washington, then Palestine said that the Palestinians reject the deal, the offer by Trump administration. The offer considered as a way to buy hope and right of Palestinian people. So according to Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas, that this deal is not fair because Trump wanted to buy the hope and the right of Palestinians. Because according to Trump, it's the economic problem. So we can solve this situation by using money. Money can solve everything. That's according to Trump. But the root of problem never been touched by Trump. And then in this deal, Palestine forced to choose difficult option and forced to accept the deal. So during the deal, Palestinian never been hit, but Trump forced them to accept the deal. So in this world, is unfair to force people that didn't read the agreement. That's the situation. And then I want to highlight the response from Arab leaders. So Arab leaders are they are not in the Zoom voice related to the deal. Some Arab countries are sponsored to the deal. For example, Bahrain in 2019 already brokered or already part of the plan by Trump, because Bahrain organized this country become a host country for Manama Conference in 25 and 26 of June 2019. And then when the deal released to the public, and then Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Saudi Arabia said that there are positive elements of this deal. So Israel and Palestine can sit together and then solve the problem they have been faced in the last 15 years, I think. And then from Egypt, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Egypt said already, Israel and Palestine need to learn the proposal. So both countries suggest Palestine to follow what United States want. And then when the proposal proposed to Arab countries, some of them suggesting it, some of them against, some of them silent. For example, those who support the deal, they are Egypt, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Oman, Qatar, and Morocco. And then those who reject the deal, they are Jordan, Palestine, Iraq, Tunisia, and Algeria. And then those who are in silent, most of them from North African countries, as well as Sudan and Libya, who are in the middle of conflict. So this picture gives us an illustration how Arab countries react to the deal. So I also want to highlight that in the past, if we read the history, that the pretext of 6-day wars, yeah. So in 1960s, there was a war between Israel versus Arab countries. So at that time, Arab countries don't want, they reject the existence of Palestine, the existence of Israel, because for them, the existence of Israel will harm the communities of Arab. At the same time, they will create the conflict. That's why at the time, Arab countries prefer to go to war against Israel. So in 6 days wars, there is a battle between Israel versus Arab countries. So now we see the situation is really changing. In the past, Arab countries reject the existence of Israel, but today they are hand in hand and cooperate with Israel. That's the fact today. And then what makes the difference between the deal of century that proposed by Trump versus what proposed by democratic regime? In this case, Bill Clinton, during his period, Clinton proposed the proposal to make the deal between Israel and Palestine. At the time, Clinton called Israel side. At the same time, the US also called Palestinian side. So at the time, United States play a role as a bridge builder or mediator between inter-party that are in conflict. So at the time, Palestine accept the existence of Israel, and Israel accept the existence of Palestine. So because of this deal, both leaders awarded the Nobel Prize by the committee in Norway. Because of the time, I will make it fast. Okay. Yeah. What the reaction from Indonesia? The Minister of Foreign Affairs of Indonesia said that Indonesia consistent supporting the struggle of people of Palestine. So Indonesia will always be beside of Palestine. And Indonesia also push the OIC, Organization of Islamic Cooperation, to involve actively to respond the deal of century created by Trump. And then OIC also organized meeting 28 January 2020 to react to the deal of century. And then Indonesia proposed 3 proposals that first, Indonesia consistently to call Muslim, to call solidarity of Muslim, because without solidarity we can fight together. So in during this period, we are not in the same boat. Some of our friends go the other side. That's make us difficult. So Indonesia calling the solidarity of Muslim countries to sit together and then to make common ground related to the issue of Israel-Palestine. And second one, Indonesia also insisting the proposal two-state solution. So Indonesia will advocate the proposal of two-state solution. Without that solution, Indonesia will never accept the existence of Israel, because Indonesian constitution wrote that Indonesia will not make cooperation with colonizer. That's in our constitution. And then Indonesia also proposed the importance of dialogue among nations. And then my last note related to this situation is the United States election in November will become game changer in Middle East, as well as the Israel-Palestine issues, because we don't know if Joe Biden win the election. Probably democratic regime will make some adjustment to probably to say that what Trump done will be withdraw, or Biden will do new things. And then the second one, some EU countries accept the existence of state of Palestine, and then OIC need to act collectively to force Israel accept UN resolution. But I will add my comment in Indonesia, in bahasa Indonesia, because some of our audience from Indonesia. Ya, terkait isu Palestina ini memang tidak lepas dari the deal of century. Jadi the deal of century itu adalah proposal yang ditawarkan oleh Donald Trump kepada komunitas Arab, komunitas Timur Tengah terkait konflik yang selama ini terjadi. Menurut Trump bahwasanya konflik yang terjadi selama ini di Palestina itu akarnya adalah ekonomi. Oleh sebab itu Trump berkesimpulan bahwasanya isu ini harus diselesaikan secara ekonomi. Jadi Trump itu menjanjikan nanti kalau Palestina setuju dengan proposal ini, maka nanti akan digelontorkan dana sangat besar begitu. Nah, kemudian proposal ini ditolak oleh Palestina karena menurut Palestina apa yang ditawarkan oleh Trump itu semua merugikan Palestina dan menguntungkan Israel begitu. Nah, ketika deal ini diciptakan, yang bergerak itu adalah Jared Kushner, merupakan menantu dari Trump gitu ya. Jared Kushner ini menjadi utusan khusus di Timur Tengah. Dia adalah Yahudi begitu. Kemudian dalam deal of century itu mengakomodasi kepentingan Yahudi begitu, kepentingan Israel. Itu yang membuat orang Palestina susah menerima apa yang ditawarkan oleh Amerika begitu. Nah, kemudian yang berikutnya adalah apa yang dilakukan oleh negara-negara Arab memang sebuah kesalahan besar gitu ya, karena menunjukkan inkonsistensi cara berpikir mereka, bahwa di masa lalu perang 6 hari itu dipicu oleh ketidakrelaan mereka akan keberadaan Israel begitu ya. Israel ini bagi mereka adalah duri dalam daging, sehingga keberadaan mereka harus disingkirkan. Itu yang memicu perang 6 hari. Namun pada hari ini atau hari-hari ini gitu ya, ada perubahan sikap di mana mereka bersepakat untuk berdamai dengan Israel gitu ya. Isunya adalah ekonomi yang dilakukan Bahrain, Uni Emirat Arab, kemudian belakangan dari Sudan yang ikut juga gitu ya. Itu menunjukkan bahwasanya cara seperti itu tidak membuat isu Palestina ini mendapatkan perhatian gitu. Jadi yang terjadi itu adalah kesepakatan antar mereka, tapi isu Palestina terabaikan. Itu yang mengkhawatirkan sebetulnya. Kemudian yang berikutnya adalah apa yang terjadi di Palestina atau di wilayah yang disengketakan itu adalah adanya pelanggaran-pelanggaran berat yang dilakukan oleh Israel. Noam Chomsky mencatat bahwasanya di Palestina atau Israel-Palestina itu yang terjadi bukan perang, tetapi genosida, ya. Karena kalau perang kan ada militer, ada persenjataan, ya, yang sama-sama memiliki. Seperti Azerbaijan, Armenia kan itu simetris, masing-masing punya persenjataan lengkap, masing-masing memiliki tentara dan seterusnya. Tapi di Palestina kan itu tidak terjadi. Di satu sisi Israel memiliki persenjataan lengkap, militer lengkap, jet tempurnya paling mematikan di Timur Tengah gitu, melawan Palestina yang tidak punya apa-apa. Ya. Jadi pemuda Palestina itu hanya bersenjatakan batu. Tapi itu terjadi. Makanya Noam Chomsky mengatakan yang terjadi di Timur Tengah itu atau di Palestina itu bukan perang tapi genosida begitu. Nah, kemudian Palestina juga melakukan pelanggaran-pelanggaran, tidak pernah mengabaikan resolusi PBB. Banyak sekali resolusi yang dilanggar oleh Israel, tapi tidak pernah dihukum begitu. Jadi PBB menyatakan tidak boleh ada pemukiman baru, ya, new settlement. Tapi apa yang dikatakan PBB tidak didengar. Israel terus membangun pemukiman begitu. Jadi bagaimana mungkin kita bisa percaya terhadap orang yang selalu mengabaikan norma internasional gitu. Dan terakhir tentu saja sebagai catatan, OIC ini adalah sebetulnya gerbong yang sangat kuat begitu, tapi tidak pernah bertindak secara kolektif. Itu yang menjadi kesalahan kita, dan ini harus terus menjadi concern kita. Jadi kita perlu mengamplify ya, seperti pesan dari Pak Dubes tadi. Dari saya itu Astrid, thank you for the time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sharoni, for your explanation and the statement and perspective regarding the Palestine issue. And he has covered a lot, especially regarding the deal of the century and how the Arab countries have followed suit, and how are the response of other OIC member states. And we're still accepting questions from the audience. Bagi yang ingin bertanya, silahkan mengetik di chat box agar bisa kami bacakan dan sampaikan kepada para panelis di malam ini. And now I'd like to ask a few questions to the panelists present, especially responding to the statements and the concerns raised by the speakers, especially regarding the response of the Arab states and the unity of the Ummah. And this conflict has been going on for so long, and it was one of the reasons why the OIC was established in the first place, for the unity of the Ummah in the 1969 actually. And there has been several efforts, many efforts in reconciling and resolving the conflict, such as the Oslo Accords and many others. But then, as stated by previous speakers, that Israel has been known for violating or neglecting actually the existing UN Security Council resolutions, the UN resolutions, and the OIC relevant resolutions. And with the recent, again, the concerns raised by His Excellency Ambassador Zuhair regarding the normalization issue and regarding the unity of the Ummah and the annexation, especially with the fact that after the UAE signed the deal for the normalization, actually, Israel has been attacking. They do not stop the attack or the annexation, but rather they have been attacking Gaza for days. And it shows that regardless of other Muslim countries follow with the normalization or not, Israel will still continue with the plan that they have been planning for so long. So I'd like to ask to His Excellency Ambassador Zuhair Al-Shun regarding your comments on the unity of the Arab countries actually, and also regarding the role of OIC. How has it been? Has it been according to the expectations of the people of Palestine? And also the third part of the question would be, what is your hope that Indonesia could do more? Because again, we have stated that in many meetings, Indonesia will not leave Palestine. Indonesia will always be with Palestine, by our foreign minister, by our head of state as well. In the UN General Assembly statement this year, President Joko Widodo mentioned that Palestine issue is still yet to be resolved. But what is your hope that Indonesia could do more, especially responding to the recent reaction or response from the Arab states regarding the normalization?
Yes, thank you very much for your question. Regarding the annexation and the conflict on the ground for Palestinian issue, there are many steps have to be taken by Islamic Ummah, all countries of Islamic, and not to leave the Palestinian alone on the ground, suffering and fighting and struggling alone without making measurements from all parts of OIC countries and international community in general, So in this way, I think the annexation and other even things which Israel is making more activities can be, removed from their picture and from their strategy. We know that America is playing, and standing behind Israel, especially this President Trump and his administrative and his policy. But in the same side, we can say that Muslim countries are very strong and very rich, and they are able to do many activities and many measurements and many steps to save the Palestinian people and to stand for their just cause. Not to leave them like that, and to keep that area, it's a holy land for all Muslims, all Christians, all, we can say that every people in this global are interested for that area. So what I'm going to say that politically, all my colleagues, I want to say that we are searching for peace, looking for peace. We need to save our land, our people, our community from the aggression of Israel. Without supporting from your side and other parts of the world, we cannot be able to control, and because Israel's aggression, everybody is having and seeing their activities on the ground, how they are killing, how they are taking the land, how they are surrounding Jerusalem, how they are increasing in settlements and settlers from Ethiopia, from other parts. They are calling them to be settled in our land. And we are not able to even get one refugees who are surrounding all over the world to be again in our land. Imagine the comparative way how Israel's aggression and supported by United States. Anyhow, this is another issue. Indonesia, of course, playing a strong role and having powerful to do more and more. And they are having their image and strategy all over, not only in Asia, but even among international community. Yesterday, United States Secretary was here visiting this country. Of course, I'm sure that the Palestinian issue maybe was in between. It means is Indonesia can having, pressure on other countries to do and to reach for more solution. We know that, and we appreciate the policy of Indonesia, as it has been mentioned now. It has written in the constitution about Palestine and about the liberation of Palestine, and they are supporting for that, and we are getting support from them. So in the policy, in the diplomacy, Indonesia and the foreign policy can play more and more and acting among other countries. Yes.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for your response to the question. Uh, I'd like to add that it has been a very challenging time with the COVID-19, but then with the issue of depression all over the world, it's becoming more and more burden for the Ummah, and especially regarding the Palestine issue, we have heard the news about uh, the patients not being taken care of and many others. And there's a question from Ayu Nurhayati. It's actually related to the question that I asked regarding what do you think that the thing that can make USA and Israel stop their action uh, regarding the annexation, and also with the fact that already Arab countries are following what the USA is saying, and it means that the unity of the Ummah is not as strong as it used to be. So, what is your view on that? I mean, what should be the thing that can make USA and Israel stop their action? So that was the question from Ayu.
Yes. Of course, I agree with you. The unity of Ummah is very important, and it can play more and more, precautions for supporting and helping us. You know, our strategy and our leaders clearly mentioned, we don't accept anyone to talk on behalf of the Palestinian people and their just cause. If anybody want to help us, most welcome. But to talk on our behalf, we cannot accept that. Palestinians, they are having their own leader who can look for their nationality, for their aim, for object, whatever their requirements. You know, Israel, no one can be able to understand their mentality only if he are dealing with these people. Israelis, by the way, they are always using and cheating the public, cheating everybody where they are dealing that. So maybe some countries who are believing in their policy, but from our own side, we don't believe whatever Israelis are talking about it. This is our beliefs. Why? Because since Oslo Agreement, now I have seen the report have been mentioned from one participant when Ishaq Rabin with Yasser Arafat. This is 1993, and we are now in 2020, and we have agreed, we have accepted Israel on our land, on our Palestinian land, and see their activities and what they are talking now. They are not accepting all the Palestinian or any Palestinian to be free and to have their independence. So I don't believe in all diplomacy, these activities in this regard, because Israelis are playing whatever, they are having their own strategy supported by United States of America. So I hope Arab countries, Muslim Ummah, whatever, international community, to change their view, to change their idea about this conflict, and because if we remain in this game, always will be loser. I mean, I'm talking about the Ummah, not we. We are struggling there. We are standing there, defending ourselves, defending our land, facing the aggression of Israel, and we will continue till we will reach for our goal. I have seen in your report about Trump is signing and showing one picture that giving a gift for Netanyahu about Jerusalem. Jerusalem, it's not a city of United States. It's not Washington. If Trump is trusted on Netanyahu or in Israel, he can granted him New York or Washington or any other country, other city in United States. Jerusalem, it's Palestinian land, Palestinian city, Palestinian capital, and it will remain. Netanyahu is now feeling happy with such activity with Trump. But I'm telling you frankly, my friends, either Netanyahu or Israel, soon or later, they will cry and they will feel, in difficult way because they lost many opportunities to reach for peace. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for your response and your answer. I hope it answered your question, Ayu. And I'd like to ask the next question to Mr. Julkifli Joha as the President of Majlis Bira Malaysia. And I'd like to recall again, His Excellency Zuhair Alshun mentioned that it's important and it's actually the very essence of the cause is to include the Palestinians in the discussion and to be taken into consideration and not depend on any behalf to speak for Palestine. And actually, there has been many initiatives by forums, by Muslim countries, Muslim forums, and other international forums regarding the Palestine issue. Recently, this year, actually in February 10th, there has been the World League Parliament for Al-Quds that was hosted in Malaysia, in which there were 40 countries taking part, and Indonesia actually was chosen as the vice president or the vice chairman of that committee for parliaments to support Palestine. And the other vice chairman is Turkey. From Indonesia is Mr. Fadli Zon as the chairman of BKSAP DPR RI or the Interparliament Cooperation. So with that, I'd like to ask, because again, this is not the first forum of the kind, and the resolutions contain main points, namely rejecting the deal of the century and also emphasizing to take into consideration the Palestine people, especially in the process. And also third is that all kinds of deals or all kinds of agreements that are not for the benefit of the Palestinian people will eventually fail like the others before. So in this regard, we'd like to ask to you, what do you think has been the effort of the Malaysian government so far as a fellow member state of the OIC? And what do you think can be improved from the Malaysian regarding the Palestine cause?
Okay, thank you, Astrid, for the a good question that you posted just now. I would like to address your question like this because we always keep emphasizing the key states in OIC countries. Namely, we always have a very good and a strong and healthy and wealthy countries like Malaysia, Indonesia, Turkey, and unfortunately, we have a very weak and the rest of the OICU's country, I think they didn't have any strong and powerful energy to become a key state in OICU's country, except Indonesia, Malaysia, Turkey, and few others. So we always hope that Malaysia and Indonesia in this region will be the key states in OICU's country to fight for to fight for the cause of the Palestinian struggle and even other Muslim issues happening around the globe, such as Rohingya issues. We have so many issues that need attention and been addressed by the Muslim country, especially in Malaysia and Indonesia. But unfortunately, Astrid and our fellow brothers and sisters, we are having not only the tragedy of COVID-19 in Malaysia. So we are facing economic turbulence and also political instability happening inside our soil in Malaysia. So we always urge our politicians in Malaysia to ensure that we have a stable political landscape in Malaysia. But unfortunately, nowadays we have a little bit political turmoil and instability in Malaysia. Very unfortunate, and that's why an NGO like Malaysian Youth Council always be a check and balance to ensure that our government is always on the track to focus more on to play a more vital role and function outside our countries rather than focusing on internal political matters. So for your information, brothers and sisters, we are having political turmoil inside in Malaysia because we facing who's who to become the prime minister in Malaysia, and we don't have any majority government in Malaysia because the numbers from the government side and the opposition are almost the same. Previously, we normally we have a very strong government because we used to have Barisan Nasional before becoming a ruling party in Malaysia, but unfortunately they lost in the last general election, and now we have a very minority government nowadays. So that we are worrying that because our government cannot focus more on the outside matters because they have to focus their efforts and initiative more inside our country, despite to face the COVID-19, the economic problem. They have to face political instability in Malaysia. So we do hope that our country and our politicians will resolve their internal issues and start focusing on dealing with and try to functioning well outside our country to become a role player to assist our fellows in Palestine, Myanmar, India, and so on. I have a chance to talk with Brother Taha Ayhan before during OICU's Capital City event last January in Doha, Qatar. We reiterate our opinion that we must have a strong at least 3 countries in OIC. That is Indonesia, Malaysia, and Turkey, because we keep post our hope and our hope in these 3 countries: Turkey, Malaysia, and Indonesia. For the time being, Malaysia unfortunately cannot focus on foreign issues because they are busy to settle with their own internal issues in Malaysia. So, but previously we are playing a very significant role, especially during Tun Dr. Mahathir era when he became our 4th Prime Minister, and later on when he resigned from the premiership, he established what he named as the Perdana Leadership Foundation and other initiative related to Palestine. And he did become our bold and brave speakers in fighting with the Palestinian cause. But unfortunately, he himself also struggled with the political instability in Malaysia. So we put aside our government, Malaysian government, for the time being. Let me focus on our strength, especially with our NGOs and our youth in Malaysia. So I urge our Malaysian fellows, especially the young people in Malaysia and Indonesia as well, to focus on your strength, because I believe that we cannot rely much on, as been mentioned by His Excellency, our ambassador, Palestinian ambassador in Indonesia, that they didn't believe in diplomacy with Israelis. That's mean they hopeless in terms of dealing with G2G relationship. But instead, as a Muslim, we have to focus on our strength, our ummah strength. So that's why I always urging our young people to use their own initiative to support the Palestinian causes. If I can introduce this book, called How to Be Everyday Philanthropist. I already mentioned a little bit during my speech earlier that we can becoming a virtual philanthropist to use the technologies, the internet, the TikTok, Facebook, and Twitter to fight for the cause of the Palestinian. You know that in this book written by Nicole Bochet-Bowl, she said that the internet has reinvented the world of giving and activism, making it easier than ever to support the causes we care about. And in this regard, we care about the Palestinian causes. So we, in this book, he did share 330 ways to make a difference by exercising your voluntarism activism. And one of them is she listed down at least 11 way on how to become a philanthropy. The first one, use your body. Second one, use your family. The third one that I emphasized before, that use your computer. You know, you can utilize your internet, your Tumblr. Even before we have electronic intifada, movement established or organized by some of our Palestinian brothers by using the technology and electronic devices to spread the message and to fight for the cause of the Palestinian people. For the fourth one, use your talents. You can use your belongings. You can use your trash. Even your trash you can use to fight for the cause of the Palestinian people. You can use your time. You can use your community. You can mobilize your community to urge your virtual friends to send a strong message to our fellows in Bahrain and in UAE that we are disappointing with your government because of your government stance supporting the Israeli government. And you can use your decision. You can use your awareness, and the last but not least, you can use a little bit of your resources to becoming volunteers in these courses. So in short, I would like to summarize this question that we cannot much dependent on our government per se. We have to, to mobilize our community. We have to mobilize our young people to use their respective capacity and capability to fight for these causes. And I believe that young people in Indonesia, in Malaysia, in Turkey, and the rest of the world, they are creative enough to use their talent, to use their time, to use their, whatever they have to assist our Palestinian people. You can boycott, you can join the BDS movement, BDS movement, boycott, divestment, and sanction movement, BDS, to show your solidarity by boycotting a product that support Israelis. You can use your, your talent. You can use your Facebook, even your Twitter to mobilize these issues. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jufitri, for your response, and been very concise, and has raised many things that the youth can do. So again, I'd like to ask the question to Mr. Sharoni Rofi from the perspective of Indonesia, actually, with the recent visit of Secretary of State Mike Pompeo to Indonesia and what it entails. Also, I'd like to ask your perspective, especially the role of Indonesia, not only as OIC member state and not only as the most populated Muslim country, which is supposed to be, the frontliner, the forefront, especially the role of Indonesia in the 2 years of non-permanent membership in the UN Security Council, 2018 to 2020. We only have just a few months left or few weeks left of 2020. What do you think Indonesia has done? Has it been enough? Or is there anything more that Indonesia can do? And what do you think about the recent development, especially the US and the other Arab states and other OIC states regarding the normalization issue? Thank you so much.
Okay, Astrid. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Related to the visit of Mike Pompeo for past 3 days in Jakarta. So Pompeo visit the palace and then visit Minister of Foreign Affairs, and then as well as visit the Ansor, the wing of Nahdlatul Ulama. So in that meeting, Pompeo stressing the issue of China. So the concern of this visit is China. Pompeo didn't mention specific related to the development of Middle East. So I see the visit of Pompeo as part of Trump's strategy to show to the world that Trump administration concerned with the Muslim community. That's why he sent Pompeo to Indonesia, because Indonesia is representing the symbol of the largest Muslim countries in the world. So Trump using or utilizing the visit for his electoral benefit. So because the election is very near, next week there will be a new president, whether Trump continuing or not. But before the election, this part of his campaign. Unfortunately, the visit of U.S. administration is too late because the visit is during the campaign. And then the concern of Mike Pompeo is the rise of China. And then during his speech, he mentioned several times that the rise of China will harm the existence of Muslim, Christian, and other religious faith. That's the stressing point from the Pompeo. And then, of course, at the same time, Mike Pompeo will mention things related to the role of Indonesia in dealing with the Middle East, the development of Middle East, because United States wanted to make sure that a whole Muslim country will support the deal of century. That's the concern of Trump administration, to make Indonesia join the wagon. And then the second point is the role of Indonesia. So Indonesia, as mentioned by our president and then our minister, that the position of Indonesia related to the issue of Palestine is Indonesia will always defending the rights of Palestinian, advocating the right of Palestinian. That's why in 2015 there was an investigation committee to investigate the violation of international law by Israel. At the time, United Nations appointed a senior diplomat from Indonesia to do investigation. Why Indonesian diplomat choose as investigator? Because the United Nations see Indonesia as important player related to this issue. But at the end of the day, our investigator who went to Palestine, went to Gaza, and so on, couldn't access the place that must be inspected. So even a special envoy of United Nations cannot access restricted place. So United Nations observer, when they went to the place of violation, then restricted by Israel. That's
Maybe just to thank them.
they do, yeah.
And
And then of course Indonesia also can play a role. Now we see that some European Union countries, they accept the existence of a Palestinian state of Palestine. Yeah. So Indonesia, as a member of Security Council, can use the voice of European Union states that accepting the existence of Palestine state, because when we join the alliance with European Union, we can make clear that this is not a problem, or the root of this problem is not religious problem, but this is the problem of humanity. This is the problem of international law. Israel breaching or violating a lot of UN resolution. Israel violating a lot of international norms. That's our concern. That's why Indonesia, as a member of Security Council, need to amplify the voice of humanity from ASEAN, from European Union, and last but not least, of course, OIC. So we have OIC. OIC is actually is big family, but we never work together. So some country go right way, the other go left way. That's make that's make OIC become an ineffective organization in the world. Even when they create resolution, the member never adopting what should be done. So I think Indonesia can use its impact in Security Council and then in OIC to talk again with Muslim country, because the root of problem is Israeli violation of international law, and then advocating the rights of Palestinian people. I think that's all from me, Astrid. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shahroni, for your response, and it's been very clear the issues that have been stated in this forum. It's the importance of unity of the Ummah again and again, and also to focus on dialogue, and also to stick to the already adopted resolutions, be it from the UN or the OIC, and also to take into consideration the concern of the Palestinians. And because the Palestinians will not accept any initiatives that on their behalf, but at the end of the day does not benefit them. And it has been stated in many statements, including the president of Palestine himself. And due to again, we are over time. Many thanks to the panelists, to the speakers for the insightful statements and the insights and their perspectives regarding the solidarity for Palestine. We hope that Indonesia and Malaysia representatives present here will always stick and stand with the people of the Palestine, and will be exemplary in this regard for the initiatives as well. And with that, that concludes the panel symposium. Again, thank you so much to His Excellency Ambassador Zuhair Al-Shun for your time, for your insights, and for your valuable support, not only for this discussion, but also for welcoming the idea for the youth to take part, to be a part of the solution, because tomorrow we'll start the competitions regarding this issue. And also to Mr. Jufri Trijoha from Malaysia, always passionate about youth issues. And we hope that our brotherly country will always be with Palestine. And also to our senior Dr. Sharoni Rofi'i for your valuable insight and input regarding Indonesia's stance. And we hope that Indonesia can live up to that duty as the member state of OIC and the largest Muslim populated country at the moment. And with that, we conclude the panel symposium. Let's recite Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin, and we hope that the result of this forum can be fruitful and others can benefit it, inshallah. And with that, I'd like to give the floor back to the Master of Ceremony, Ms. Rismaya, for the next agenda. Thank you so much.
Excuse me.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Astrid Media Rizkita. The next session, competition drawing for debat. So the session will be led by UKM Bahasa Flat UIN Jakarta. His Excellency, the floor is your UKM Bahasa Flat UIN.
Excuse me. Yes. Come here. Yes. She's giving the speech to whom? But no, where is Ahun? Come here, Ahun. Maybe there is something wrong in the system. No.
All right, for all participants, now we are going to start the drawing of tomorrow debate competition matches. For the first is for the English debate competition.
Excuse me. No, there is something. Finish?
Now for the first is for the first match
It's okay.
in English debate competition.
Go ahead. Take it. First. Remove it.
So for the first match for English competition, room 1 is from MYC Campus Club IPB B. So this group is going the first match on the room 1. And then the rifle is from Universitas Negeri Padang B. So both team will be for the first match, room 1. Move on to first match, room 2 for English debate competition. For room 2 is from Universitas Lampung. And the rival is from Marwadi University. So Universitas Lampung and Marwadi University would be the room 2 in the first match. And then we move on to room 3 in the first match. It's from team UIN Syarif Hidayatullah Jakarta B. It's from room 3. And the rival is Universitas Bina Dharma. There's a team for first match in room 3. For the first match, room 4 in English debate competition is from UIN Sunan Gunung Jati Bandung. And the rival is STIT Araudatul Hasanah. So the team is for the first match in room 4. Move on to the first match in room 5. The first team is from Universitas Pendidikan Ganesha. And the rival is Universitas Teknologi Yogyakarta. That's for the first match, room 5. Sorry, I mean the second match in room 1. And then this is Universitas Negeri Padang A would be the second match in room 2. And the rival is FISIP UIN Syarif Hidayatullah Jakarta. This for second match in room 2. For the second match in room 3 is from MOIC Campus Club IPB A. That's first team for the room 3 second match. And then the rival is UIN Wali Songo Semarang. And then the last is from the second match in room 4. The first team is from UIN Syarif Hidayatullah Jakarta A. And the rival is from PPI, International Islamic University of Malaysia. So that's the last team that from the second match, room 4 in English debate competition.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
كيف حالكم؟ والآن في هذا الليل سنبحث عن الفرقات التي سيسابق غدا للمناظرة العربية. طيب مباشرة الدور الأول تفضل. الدور الأول IKH Mojokerto ومقابل طيب IKH Mojokerto مقابل Win Sultan Syarif Kasim Riau fil mubaratil ula fil ghurfatil ula. Baik, Asani, Ad-Daursani. International Islamic University Malaysia wa muqabil International Islamic University B fi hadhihi wa hadha al-mubarak asani fil ghurfat afan al-mubarak al-awal fil ghurfatis sani. FDI Win Syarif Hidayatullah Jakarta muqabil University Saint Islam Malaysia A wa al-mubarak al-awal fil ghurfatis salis. Tafadhal. Universitas Al-Azhar Indonesia wa muqabil Taib Al-Jamiah Al-Azhar Indonesia muqabil Al-Jidal Uin Malang fi al-mubarak al-awal fil ghurfati Robi. Uin Sunan Kalijaga Yogyakarta wa muqabil Abu Qori FDI Uin Syarif Hidayatullah Jakarta fi mubarak asani ghurfatul awal. University Sains Islam Malaysia B wa muqabil Universitas Al-Azhar Indonesia B fil mubarah asani al-ghurfah asani al-ghurfah B wal akhir Universitas Darussalam Gontor wa muqabil Arodatul Hasanah wa fil mubarati asani al-ghurfah as-salis. Syukran.
Okay, thank you UKM Bahasa Flat UIN Jakarta. Best of luck to all participants of the debat. Speaker, Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, this marks the end of this. This is the session of the 42nd commemoration of International Day of Solidarity with Palestine people. I would like to thank all of the participants for your participation of the meeting. We look forward for the next session. Thank you for your participation and attention. I do apologize if many mistakes. Thank you. Billahi fissabil haq, fastabikul khairat. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you so much, everyone.
See you in the competition, guys.
Yeah, and good luck.
We can end the streaming actually now.
Yeah.